faculty members, researchers, students, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning to you all. Welcome to the 18th IEEE International Conference on Computational Intelligence and Communication Networks, CICN 2026. We are incredibly proud to welcome you here today at the historic Conrado Benitez Hall, right here at our host institution, the Philippine Women's University. This 18th edition is proudly organized by the MIR Labs in close collaboration with the Institution of Electronics and Telecommunications Engineers, Gwalior, and the IEEE Madhya Pradesh section in the IEEE Philippines section. To guide you through today's prestigious event, I'm Associate Professor Roland Emil C. Peñaloza from the School of Pharmacy, and I am absolutely honored to be your Master of Ceremonies for this milestone conference. To formally begin with our program, may I now request everyone to rise for the opening prayer to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Ang
Thank you very much. I may now be seated. Once again, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 18th IEEE International Conference on Computational Intelligence and Communication Networks, CICN 2026, here at the Philippine Women's University. Originally founded to bridge global research, CICN has grown into a premier international platform. This 18th edition is proudly organized once again by the MIR Labs in close coordination with the Institute of Electronics and Telecommunications Engineer Gwalior and the IEEE Madhya Pradesh section and our very own IEEE Philippines section. This conference will serve as a dynamic hub for scholars, practitioners, and innovators from across the globe. Through our lineup of keynote talks, paper presentations, and interactive workshops, we aim to push the boundaries of computational intelligence, AI, and network-based technologies. We are thrilled to have you here with us as we foster collaborations that will shape the future of tech. To formally commence this conference, may I invite the Director of the Research and Development Office, Quality Assurance Coordinator of the Philippine Women's University, and General Chair of the 18th IEEE CICN to deliver his opening remarks, Professor Dr. Daniel D. Dasig Jr., PCPE.
To the honorable members of the Board of Trustees of the Philippine Women's University, the President, Mr. Marco Alfredo Benitez, our wonderful Chancellor and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Felina C. Young, our esteemed Vice Presidents and Assistant Vice Presidents, School Deans, Program Chairs, distinguished guests, keynote speakers, and plenary speakers. May I request our keynote speakers and plenary speakers to please join. The members of the organizing committee from the international and global organizations, our local organizing conference team at the Philippine Women's University and in the Philippines, the IEEE Philippine section, researchers and scholars, academicians, industry experts, students, research presenters joining us on site and virtually from all over the world. A pleasant morning to everyone. On behalf of the organizing committee, as your general chair, it is my distinct honor and privilege to warmly welcome all of you to the 18th IEEE International Conference on Computational Intelligence and Communication Networks. We take pride at Philippine Women's University of hosting this 18th year of this globally prestigious conference. We are truly delighted to gather with an exceptional community of scholars, innovators, engineers, practitioners, and community leaders who share a common commitment to advancing knowledge and creating meaningful impact through research, innovation, and collaboration. This year's conference serves as a global platform for exchanging ideas and presenting cutting-edge developments in computational intelligence, artificial intelligence, communication networks, cybersecurity, data science, intelligent systems, digital transformation, and emerging technologies that are reshaping industries, communities, and societies in the world. We are particularly proud that CICN 2026 has attracted several papers which will be presented today, tomorrow, until June 13. This paper reflects the growing importance of interdisciplinary and international collaboration in addressing the intricacies and complexities of technological and societal challenges. As we navigate in this post-Industry 5.0 AI, smart systems, and sustainable digital transformation, conferences such as this conference play a vital role in fostering a dialogue between industry, academia, and innovators to provide recommendations, solutions to government, companies, and industries. These solutions, in return, is expected to resolve challenges, but of course, the problems of today sometimes are also the results of the technologies we deployed yesterday. So as the host institution, the Philippine Women's University proudly opens our door to all of you, our participants from global scholar community. Founded on principles of transformative education, leadership, innovation, and service, PWU is honored to support a conference that promotes scientific excellence and globally scholarly engagement. We take pride and we're grateful to Professor Tomar, the immediate chair of the Madhya Pradesh section. Thank you for bringing us together today and for selecting us to host this prestigious conference. I would also like to express my gratitude to our conference partners, the Probot Corporation, our reviewers, our technical committee members, and of course, our volunteers, the faculty members, our staff, our administrative support for the hard work that you have put forward to make this conference possible. Over the next few days, I encourage everyone to actively participate, exchange ideas openly, challenge assumptions, and seek opportunities for collaboration. I personally would like to thank our session chairs, plenary speakers, and keynote speakers for accepting the responsibilities to help us shape the future of computational intelligence and, of course, communication networks. Once again, welcome to this 18th IEEE International Conference on Computational Intelligence and Communication Networks. Thank you very much, and welcome to Philippine Women's University. Welcome to the Philippines. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dasig, for your inspiring words and for officially opening this conference. Now to share words of inspiration, encouragement as we embark on today's scholarly engagements, please welcome the Chancellor and the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs of the Philippine Women's University, who also serves as a General Chair for the 18th IEEE CICN. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Dr. Felina C. Young.
to our distinguished keynote and plenary speakers, Prof. Dr. Tomar, the patron of the IEEE CICN conference today, our research director, Dr. Dan Dasig, our deans and program chairs of Philippine Women's University. We'd like to welcome our international and local delegates, esteemed researchers, faculty, students, industry practitioners. It is a welcome morning for today. We welcome you to the Philippines. We welcome you to Philippine Women's University. Today, we are honored to welcome each one of you in this gathering of the 18th Computational Intelligence and Communication Networks, the theme of which is innovating and inspiring researchers to adopt outcomes for implementation. That is a very challenging theme, that we are here to work towards implementation of whatever research that we are conducting. So it's not merely a slogan, but rather it is a call to action. We live in an era where AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, data science, smart systems, and digital transformation are no longer abstract concepts confined to laboratories. Instead, they are now engines driving economies, reshaping societies, and redefining how humanity connects. Yet, innovation without implementation remains incomplete. The true measure of research lies not only in discovery, but in its capacity to transform lives. This conference is a convergence of minds and missions. It is a space where ideas transcend borders, where celebration bridges and collaboration bridges discipline, and where inspiration fuels the courage to turn theory into practice. Together, we are tasked with ensuring that the breakthroughs we celebrate today become the solutions that can empower us tomorrow. The call to innovate and the inspiration to innovate is not born out of isolation. It thrives in ecosystems of trust, collaboration, and vision. As researchers and practitioners, we must embrace the responsibility of translating our knowledge into outcomes and addressing pressing global challenges, from securing communication networks against cyber attacks or threats, to harnessing machine learning for sustainable development, and for designing smart systems that uplift communities. So much do we see the application of AI in different facets of our lives, whether it is in healthcare, in daily life, in creativity and content development, in business, in governance. To the faculty members and students, let this be a reminder that education is not only about absorbing knowledge, but creating pathways for impact. Remember, creating pathways for impact. To the industry partners, your role is pivotal in bridging research with the real-world applications, ensuring that ideas do not remain confined to academic journals, but find their way into products, services, and systems that shape today our daily lives. We must inspire one another to move beyond incremental progress. And when you say incremental, these are slight changes, but we need phenomenal changes. Let us dare to imagine communication networks that are not only faster, but more secure, AI systems that are not only intelligent but ethical, and digital transformations that are not only profitable but inclusive. Inspiration is contagious. When one researcher dares to innovate, others are emboldened to follow. Therefore, the journey from innovation to implementation requires courage, requires persistence, and collaboration. It demands that we adopt outcomes not as an optional pursuit, but as essential responsibilities. The world is watching us while the international community looks to gatherings like this for leadership, for solution, and for hope in every corner of the globe. We're asking, can technology make our lives safer? Can it make our societies really better? And can we make our future even brighter? The answer depends on what we do here and what we carry forward from this conference. Hence, let us commit to building frameworks where research outcomes are tested, are scaled, and deployed. Let us create incubators where student ideas can grow into enterprises and establish consortia where researchers' findings can become standards. Very demanding, but I think that is the role that we have in the academe. We do basic research, and I always say that basic research is more difficult than application. And that is now the demand of the times, that we encourage our students to go into the deepest constructs and elements of research, after which we can give it to industry, and industry can go into implementation. Okay? Let us now foster partnerships across academia, industry, and government that can accelerate adoption. See, the adoption is so significant at this point in time in our lives. And let us remember that every algorithm, every model, every framework, every system that we design carries the potential to improve our lives, to protect societies, and to inspire future generations. A cybersecurity protocol can safeguard a nation's infrastructure. A machine learning model can predict disease outbreaks and save thousands of lives. A smart system can reduce energy waste and preserve our planet for generations to come. As we embark on this particular conference, these particular 4 days of academic learning and sharing, may we be guided by the conviction that knowledge is most powerful when shared, when innovation is most meaningful when applied, and inspiration is most enduring when it sparks action. I'd like to say that while we are working into learning certain theories, coming out with theory building, and we work into really basic academic researches, we are now able to lend our researches to the industry. And industry can pick from our researches, and from there come out with certain developments. And while we're not happy that there are more disruptive researches in terms of application, in terms of finding the application of our researches, we still continue to want our people, our students especially, to go into basic research because it's more challenging. So what about developing, let's say, a new cure that can compete with some diseases? Or what is it that you develop certain herbs to compare with vitamin C or vitamin A? So much that we can do in the academe. And let our pharmaceuticals, our companies, our developers, put them in application. And that is where we contribute our partnership with the industry. Such is now the role of schools and universities. Okay? We may not have the necessary funding to implement our researches, but the researches are there. And it will be for us now to continue developing our basic researches. So with that, I'd like to thank each one of you, and may this gathering again ignite a legacy of innovation, collaboration, and implementation that will resonate beyond what we expect. So a pleasant good morning to everyone, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Young, for your inspiring message. As we continue, may we call in the center stage Professor Jitam Singh Tomar, the patron of the 18th CICN 2026, Professor Manish Dixit, Honorary Chair of CICN 2026, and Dr. Daniel Dasig, the General Chair of the 18th IEEE CICN, and Dr. Felina C. Young, as we award a token and plaque of recognition. The plaque. We would also like to call Professor Manish Dixit, the Honorary Chair of CICN 2026. And let me read the citation. Plaque of recognition is proudly presented to the Philippine Women's University in grateful recognition and sincere appreciation as the host university of the 18th IEEE International Conference on Computational Intelligence and Communication Networks held on June 11 to 14, 2026 at the Conrado Benitez Hall, Philippine Women's University. Your steadfast commitment to research excellence, innovation, academic leadership, and international collaboration significantly contributed to the successful conduct of this global conference, fostering scholarly exchange and advancing knowledge and computational intelligence and communication networks. Presented this 11th day of June 2026 at the Conrado Benitez Hall, PWU, Manila, Philippines. Once again, let's all give them a big round of applause. To provide us with essential overview of the conference and to share its profound significance in advancing global research and innovation, please welcome the Chair of the IEEE Madhya Pradesh Section and patron of the 18th IEEE CICN. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Dr. Jitam Singh Tomar.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very nicely conducted inauguration ceremony by Master of Ceremony. We should thank him because he is the person managing the timeline of the conference. At the outset, I welcome Honorable Chancellor, Honorable Ambassador sitting in front of us, all distinguished guests, including authors, those who have come physically. And in fact, what we should discuss is the basis on which we conduct the conferences and why at all we conduct conferences. So that is what we need to emphasize more and more, because unless you do not know the importance, you will not gather at that place. This is the platform provided by IEEE, where we meet and we have academic network. How big academic network we can have in one conference, you can understand why we received around 1,800 papers. It means at least 3,000 authors contributed to this conference. And finally, we could accept only 250 papers. In that, we had around 793 reviewers from 47 countries. It means we have 47 countries on board when we prepare for this conference. Then finally, in this 250 papers, we have from 37 countries authors. It means even at the result of the papers, we have around maybe 1014, maybe more than 1,000 authors, which are from 37 countries. It means you are connected to at least 37 countries if you are part of this conference. It may be physical or it may be online, because finally you have to discuss about your research with your peer reviewers, peer researchers in the same area, and you will come to know about your strength and weakness, what work you have put up to the world. Because finally it will go to explore, which is available to the world. So if your work is good, it will be cited by others. If it is not good or it is not worthful, others will not waste their time in the same idea or same way. So they will divert their idea in different way. It means you are helping, even if your paper is not cited, still you are helping others not to waste their time in the same idea. So that is what concept. So we need to have, at least in a year, if you have one paper in conference, you will gain more knowledge than publishing 10 papers in any journal. That is what concept is, so we need to promote this. Because unless you do not have eye-to-eye contact or one-to-one discussion, you will not come to know about your weaknesses and strength in that particular research area. That is one part for which we are standing here. Another part of conference is whatever technological outcomes we have, because generally, especially in this series of CICN, we do not encourage survey papers. We encourage only those papers which have certain their actual inputs with mathematical modeling. If we do not find mathematical modeling, very rarely we accept any paper. Even after presentation, we reject many papers if they are not presented well or they are not able to justify their work which has been put as paper. So you are still not sure that those 250 papers will be available online. That is what rigorous, what we call monitoring we have. This is the reason very few conferences go to Web of Science. Our conference is in Web of Science also. Unless you do not measure the quality, you cannot compete with the world. Second thing, what we generally miss out, that we forget about what Chancellor pointed out many times in her speech, that go for fundamental research, that's the basic research. How you will go for basic research? For that you have to have scientific knowledge. And that scientific knowledge will come only when you are with the nature. It means you have to be with the nature, then only you can learn the parameter of the nature and you can have basic research. If you have basic research, it can be applied at later time. But if you work only for applications, the way we have now AI, generally I call this AI as survey paper in research work. Because it is taking the data, whatever is available, nothing new it gives to you or to the world. Whatever database you have at different places, it searches it and then it produces some output which is not known to you, or it may be known to you, but you are just keeping your eyes closed with that outcome that yes, I have done something new. It is nothing new. It is already available somewhere in server and it is fetching out. It means it's more or less it is a one survey paper. Nothing else. It's not new work which is put to you. But for you it may be new, but it is not new for the world, those who are working in that particular area. So for that also we are creating new database. Out of these 250 papers, it will be available somewhere in server. So again you have new database. It means conferences are helping to create more and more database for your AI also. So in that way also you need to put your work to the conferences. Then finally what we do? Finally we are generally, because it's a technical conference, So all are either engineers or would-be engineers. And the technological outcome depends upon engineers, whatever, or it may be managed by managers, but finally, if you work, then your country will be on top, because you have to have your own technology. If you have your own technology, you have a strength. And that technology will come out only from engineers. So we need to have that responsibility from whichever country you are. The technology is from engineers, so you need to work for scientific knowledge, it means scientists, and then use that scientific knowledge for societal need, but don't impact the nature beyond certain limit. Otherwise, in place of good engineer, you will become devastating engineer. So don't become devastating engineer for the nature. Have some threshold that beyond this we will not, because you have to hamper nature, but decide certain threshold, beyond this we will not go, then you are good engineer, otherwise you are bad engineer. So we need to become good engineer so that we can contribute to the nation from where you are, and certainly world's all new generation looking towards you. So thank you very much. I wish all the best, and I appreciate the assistance and the monitoring given by this university, and hopefully we will have more and more collaborations and technological outcomes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Tomar, for sharing the vision and objectives of the 18th IEEE International Conference on Computational Intelligence and Communication Networks. We now proceed to one of the absolute highlights of today's conference, the keynote address. To open our highly anticipated technical sessions and formally introduce our first keynote speaker for CICN 2026, it is our distinct honor to invite to the podium a distinguished diplomat and the Dean of the Helena Z. Benitez School of International Relations and Diplomacy, right here at the Philippine Women's University. Delegates, ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a warm round of applause to Ambassador Dr. Rosario G. Manalo.
Good morning, dear friends. Good morning, Dr. Young. Good morning, sir. Visitors. I have the honor to present to you one of our speakers, and that is Dr. Alin Joy D. Baltasar. Dr. Alin Joy D. Baltasar is a public sector professional with more than 22 years of experience in government service and public and private higher education program management. She has accumulated nearly 16 years of academic engagement across private and public higher education institutions, complemented by early career exposure to government and international organizational environments. Ms. Baltasar currently serves as Assistant Dean for Academic Affairs and Director of the Center for Public Management at the Graduate School of Public Management of the Development Academy of the Philippines. In this role, she has been instrumental in the design, implementation, and institutionalization of flagship graduate and executive programs. Her professional responsibilities include program and project management, curriculum review and harmonization, technical documentation, stakeholder engagement, negotiations, and contracting and quality assurance. During her 12-year tenure as DAP, she has led and supported the successful delivery of 27 certificate courses, 10 executive courses, 24 master's degree programs, and 3 technical programs in collaboration with key national institutions, including uniformed services, health and social protection, and other multi-sectoral agencies. She has also facilitated academic workshops, served as a panelist and interviewer, and has authored research presentation at international conferences in the past years. Ms. Baltasar's academic background is rooted in information technology, reflecting a linear progression from bachelor's and master's degrees to doctoral studies. She is a civil service professional and the recipient of honor graduate eligibility. Through her sustained engagement in public management, education, and institutional development, Ms. Baltasar continues to contribute to the strengthening of public institutions and the advancement of governance excellence. That is Madame Baltasar. Let us welcome her on the table. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bababa natin.
Gonna sit there or you going other seat? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Amba Manalo, for the warm introduction to the President of the Philippine Women's University, Dr. Benitez, Chancellor Young, Dr. Dasig, and Dr. Tomar, esteemed guests coming from different universities in the country and abroad, those who are viewing us online. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I recalled the invitation of Dr. Dasig. So when PWU calls, the Development Academy of the Philippines answered fast. So thank you for the trust and the honor of allowing me to represent my organization, the country's bureaucratic think tank, and its academic arm, the Grad School of Public Management. So I hope everyone can see my presentation. It is on AI-driven risk governance in organization and leveraging computational intelligence for organizational resilience. Now, we all know that we are living in an era where organizations are operating under unprecedented uncertainty. In the military, we call it VUCA, the VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, chaotic, and so on. But if we are going to apply this in universities and organizations, or even in international institutions, risk has becoming a permanent operating condition. So it is no longer an occasional event. It is not something that may happen in a day or so, or probably after a year or a decade. It is already currently happening now, suddenly happening, and might be happening tomorrow. So normally, we target this risk through periodic assessment and compliance checklists, for example, reactive responses. We always do reaction. We rarely do proactive responses. We rarely plan, not even for the greater ones that might affect infrastructure. We always say, we'll see what happens when it happens. But we rarely plan. That's why in the survey of the Global Institute, Philippines is under 85 out of, I think, 98 countries when it comes to risk preparation. So this presentation on artificial intelligence and computational intelligence can strengthen our idea of how to think of risk governance in our institution, and how can we transform the massive information, not only from our institution, but also from, for example, from the other offices, weather stations, etc., and how we can possibly use this actionable intelligence to support faster, more informed, and more resilient decision-making. So may I ask, okay, thank you very much. So as mentioned here, I always state risk is no longer an occasional event. Risk is now a permanent operating condition. So the pace of change is drastic, it's dramatic. Now we are looking at the saga in Senate. Next day, we are having news of a very, very strong earthquake, right? No, nobody knows it's going to happen, not even the Senate episodes. But then it's there. A disruption occurring in one part of the world can rapidly affect operations. Nobody knows that the war in the Middle East is going to happen. Nobody knows that the US is going to intervene, trying to create rippling effects, not only in Latin America, but in the Middle East. And the effects of that, well, I think you can look into the electricity bills that you have. That is just a tiny chunk of the effect. So organizations today face a convergence of risk, though no longer isolated incidents. It's already a convergence of risks. So that means that leaders can no longer rely on experience or intuition. Our old thinking leaders normally say, oh, in my days, it's like this. No, it will not happen in my days. No. No, that's no longer the proper way that leaders should think. Now leaders require systematic capability in continuously sensing, analyzing, and interpreting complex environment, and possibly, if not now, but possibly soon, can create not reactive solutions, but proactive ones. Next, please. Okay, as mentioned earlier, there are so many things that currently happen in our society. Before I introduce you to how it can possibly affect us as educators, I would like to summarize the risk I have looked into 6 different major aspects. The strategic and geopolitical risk, of course, this refers to geopolitical instability, conflict, trade disruption, foreign policy shifts. These are the things that even if we are geographically situated opposite of the globe, nonetheless, probably economically, militarily, allied-wise, in the different countries, it may affect us. So another is the operational and environmental risks. So this is the ones we have recently experienced. Our brothers and sisters in Mindanao. It's a tragic experience, an unprecedented one, but then again, the death toll that's already there, you can never take it back. So natural disasters, you know, the pandemic, infrastructure failures, service interruptions, climate impacts, it can happen anytime soon. For the longest time, Luzon is preparing for the big one. I recall, since I handled the master's degree for the Armed Forces of the Philippines and our allied countries, we have been discussing the big one. Contingency plans, what to do, what if everything collapses, how the military take over. We have been creating maps on that. And not only in 2016, before 2016, the Armed Forces of the Philippines have looked into that. But they shifted, after 2020, they shifted it to joint operations, including the Philippine National Police, the Philippine Coast Guards, the ALG, and other institutions, because they've learned that this particular program is societal. This is not institutional only. This is societal. Although several institutions have plans, but then again, everyone must learn to collaborate. We also have the economic and financial risks. Now, if you are thinking, we are fine with poverty, I think. We glorify it at some point. I saw people glorifying it at some point. But then again, no. Financial risks sometimes do not really come from our, they do not really come from our country. Sometimes these are ripple effects of what is happening in other countries. So because of those effects, our government is mandated to have several budget constraints, and supply chains, of course, are being controlled. And of course, you saw how dollar fluctuated. So I recall Before, we can waste all the electricity that we want, but now all government offices are mandated by the Office of the President to really go tight on the energy budget, that we have at 12 noon to 1 p.m. Electricity shutdown. Not, of course, not including the air conditioning, but the lights and others. That's a protocol in order to help the government save energy. We also have the presence of human capital and workforce risk, the brain drain. In 80s and 90s and early 2000s, there's no such thing as brain drains. We just exhaust ourselves. We go home exhausted and happy. But now, no. No, this generation is something new. That forces the Civil Service Commission to enforce 5 days mental wellness leave for government officials, meaning those who are plantilla positions. If you work for the government, you have plantilla positions, you can have 5 days of mental wellness leave. But the condition is do not take it straight, just take 2 or 3 first, maximum of 3, but do not do it straight. Unfortunately, for some agencies, the job orders or what we so-called non-plantilla positions are not included. But in my organization, the Development Academy of the Philippines, we look into human power concerns very seriously. So the Board of Trustees and the Academy itself included the non-plantilla positions on this 5 days mental wellness leave, because we believe that all of us are people. We're all humans. We experience these things. So plantilla position doesn't mean you are more privileged, but at least in these kinds of privileges, we are the same. So we also have the advent of technology, which leads us to cyber and information risk. So this includes cyber attacks, data breaches, the misinformation and disinformation are two different things. One, you always look into the intent. If it is intentional, there's a real threat, there's an intent to do that. That is a disinformation, and misinformation is another matter. So we have also the presence of deep fakes. Particularly, the ones who are victimized by this are the prominent personalities. No, they represent the leaders of the globe. They tried creating these videos as if they are saying something which might alter a possible course of direction, particularly in diplomatic communities. So, of course, information warfare is present. And in the military now, we are looking into asymmetric warfare as well. Before, our classes are focused on physical, like for example, jungle war fighting, etc. But now, there is a new curriculum which we designed that includes massive information and information warfare, as well as influence of artificial intelligence on warfare. For technology and innovation risk, we have, of course, the AI disruption, the emerging technologies. We crafted one new center under the grad school. I have 3 centers under my supervision, the Center for Public Management. We have also the Center for Productivity and Quality Management, and the Center for Future Studies and Emerging Technologies. So it's a new one. We created this in order to support the capability building demands on this aspect. So it includes automation, digital transformation failures, and responses to technology obsolescence. Particularly, the mandate to us of the President is look into how we can possibly respond to manpower concerns that this technology might has as another effect. For example, I recall we are often being threatened that your jobs will be taken by AI. Your jobs will be taken by robots. So I was wondering, I think I'm going to retire by the time that the AI is very strong here in the Philippines, so I'm fine. But, this is really crippling steadily. AI is massively expanding, so we should be looking into this risk. Okay, now for how do we look into the societal risk if we are framing it in the educational perspective? So, number one, we have, if you look into strategic and geopolitical risk, the concerns in the West Philippine Sea, the tension, the ASEAN and global competitiveness pressure, disruption from China, Taiwan. I think you are very familiar with this. It's always present in our news. For the longest time, our military has been planning on things like this, particularly that we are approaching the 2027 sort of deadline of China to Taiwan. And normally, civilians or the society doesn't really mind that much. People plan to go to Taiwan in advance in 2027. They already booked their tickets. But if you know something that others don't know, you might think twice. So those things, this concern, this geopolitical shift, the information for this is open only at some point to the higher levels, but the impact is not only on that level. The most affected ones are the ones at the bottom. So if you are a leader, this should be your number one priority. Then, we also have number two. And budget limitations, for example, the private schools and its uses. So for example, let us connect the two. We already experienced some geopolitical shift that affected our country. So naturally, the government response is to accommodate the need for immediate funding, the funding for whatever is immediate. Whatever is in the emergency zone, they will fund that. So might be the implication of that is cuts on SUC budget or other budgets that the government deemed can wait for a few days or a few years or so. So the rising technology and infrastructure cost, particularly the dollar is also rising, and of course it will also affect the government appropriation and grants. And number three effect on the education, of course, teacher shortages in key disciplines, migration of educators abroad. They will find the salaries abroad and the working condition more enticing than being here, working for a country that can barely support their family. So we have to take note of the aging faculty workforce as well. So there's a skill mismatch between the graduates and of course what the industry needs. Even in the industry of information technology, we are supposedly the ones who are at the prime knowledge of handling technology, but then again, there is this more or probably an idea that our jobs in the industry might be replaced by artificial intelligence. So that's one risk. Then another risk is on the operational environmental risk. So of course the typhoons, if you may say, how do this affect education? The geographical location is the target of these typhoons, floods, volcanic eruption, etc. And unfortunately for us, our schools are sometimes situated in this area. So if you look into the reports on Mindanao earlier, there are several schools, buildings who are severely damaged because of these earthquakes and so on. So another risk connection on this category of cyber and information risk is on the data privacy breaches involving student records, cyber attacks on learning management systems, misinformation, disinformation, of course, affecting the learners. So we might not easily feel the data privacy implication, but there are people, there are organizations who take this very seriously. My organization has a data privacy officer, and I think there was never a month when there is a no data breach complaint filed. Sometimes it includes complaints, basic complaints from people asking for things. Why are they included there? They were not asked. That's why in all of our affairs, we make sure that everyone is compliant or signed at least that they would like their names or their faces to be included in the publications and so on. So number 6, we also have the rapid emergence of generative AI, a digital divide among learners, the obsolete curricula. If the technology is emerging fast, the information technology academic groups can barely cope up with the curricula. It's really evolving, and it is not only affecting the IT in general, but everyone as well. So we in the academy have to think fast, how to do it, how to possibly cope up. But one very important thing is this thing should not be something done reactively. It should be done proactively. So problems that may happen 5 years from now, 3 years from now, we as academicians should have solutions for this, because eventually it will happen. How many months or years it will happen, and during that time we should be ready. So that's why my organization is always doing benchmark in our programs, local and abroad, and into helping us craft a very timely, very responsive, and innovative curriculum for our students. Now, we have this challenge. So the greatest paradox of our time is that the organizations have more information than before. The presence of social media alone, databases, these are things which are not done normally in the year of 80s, 90s, 2000s, early 2000s. But now we have the abundance of information. But even with such abundance of information, decision makers struggle to gain clarity. There's a new word, they call it now information overload. No longer enough control of everything because there's too much. So the problem is not data scarcity. The problem is signal extraction. How are we going to decipher everything? So the real challenge is converting information into intelligence. So in this case, we have the sources of information coming from risk registers, audit compliance report. We have performance operational data, security incident reports, and a lot, no? And all of this causes the information overload. It is fragmented, unstructured, and difficult to analyze because all of these are raw data. You cannot simply analyze this if this is going to be put even in your desk. Even if someone put a bunch of papers in your desk, you cannot simply analyze this at a period of 1 hour or so. You need time. But there is a solution to that, no? So because of this tedious task, decision-making without a timely, accurate, and integrated intelligence is really difficult to gain. And that particularly challenge will result to governance gap. So we are reactive, not predictive. We are fragmented and siloed. Everything is manual and time-consuming. There is limited visibility, and of course, that will lead to missed opportunities. So analyzing volumes and volumes of data is difficult, of course, but rather on relying exclusively on manual reviews and subjective interpretations, organizations can augment governance processes with evidence-based analytics. Next, please. Okay, so I have here, challenge is no longer collecting information. The challenge is transforming information into actionable intelligence. This is where AI-driven risk governance enters. So just a little footnote, we need a smart, integrated, and intelligent approach to turn information into actionable intelligence for better governance. If we are going to use AI on the samples I have shown in the previous slides, it will take shorter period of time than, basically using, enabling one person to review everything and think. So that's the importance of integrating AI into risk governance. Okay, so how do we bridge this thing? So let's go to the next slide. So computational intelligence enables organization to transform unstructured information into meaningful patterns that support risk-informed and data-driven decision-making. So in my organization, we have met this dilemma. I think in the pandemic, before pandemic, we are asked to develop a manual for the ISO because in my organization, we do not have only one ISO audit per year. We have 5. We have 5 ISO audits. We call it IMSO. IMSO is a compilation of 5 important ISO audits that DEP implements every year. There are several criteria, and the point of that is, if we are following 5 ISO, if we are gathering all of these folios to match these 5 ISOs, it's really difficult for everyone. So for several years, DEP created a pavement wherein this 5 ISO converges and there's no redundancy on things being requested. So the unstructured information sources, the incident reports, risk registers, audit compliance, policies, regulations, which is normal to the government, the stakeholder feedback, and other, of course, important data, is bulky. It's difficult for us. So we tried. What if we do something about this? We have enough information. When we extracted all the necessary reports, we have only until 2018 generated digital reports. Prior to 2018, all of the reports are already in physical form and stored somewhere else. So we look into this bulk of data which we have from 2018 to 2024, and we converted this through a computational intelligence pipeline. So we use text mining, and we use TF-IDF vectorization. In text mining, of course, you extract all the data first, then you identify the most relevant terms and weights the importance in the documents through TF-IDF, And we measure it through cosine similarity of 0.60. So we measure the similarity between documents to understand how closely the risks are related. Because sometimes if you do it manually, you tend to be objective about it. You just use your logic. This one looks like this one. Probably this is with this group. But no, if you use AI on this, if you use the steps 1 to 3, you will be able to formulate a strategic pipeline of where should things go. If this type of risk is like this, the immediate application is like this, what are the other risks similar to this one? Because if you address risk independently, it's costly. It will cost organizations money. And organizations are thrifty. We do not want to waste money. So that's why we make sure that the risk that can be clumped up together stays together so that the proactive solution will cover several risks at a time, covering several categories at a time. So risk patterns and insights, of course, next, this generates meaningful insight, themes, and emerging risk patterns. So this is what I mentioned earlier. When we provide solutions for example, a manpower-related risk, if in normal setting, we just look at it as human resource risk. But no, there might be something associated to organizational risk or leadership risk that might have affect the decision of that person who left. So this doesn't solely mean a human resource risk. This has a chain related to organizational risk, one chain related to leadership risk. So in providing solution, we always think if we can provide one solution for a clump of risk, then that's better. Because providing budget, one risk at a time, is costly, it's timely, and it consumes resources. But if we can provide solution that will cover several risks, several dimensions at a time, then that's smart leadership. Okay, so the result of that is actionable intelligence. So risk visibility is present, you have better prioritization, we have smarter decisions, and we have stronger resilience. Because apparently, we discovered that almost 30%, I think, of the problems we encountered and the risk we encountered can be provided solution with through leadership intervention. If the president or the leaders of the academy really puts their efforts and decision-making wisely on certain important risk, rather than thinking how many millions it will cost us, then the effect, the prolonged impact of that particular solution is greater. So one solution which we have is, for example, for the longest time we have run programs and it continuously expand. We have so many clients that the assets of the Development Academy of the Philippines in Ortigas Center and in Tagaytay is no longer fully responsive to the needs. So the result, the AP provided budget to construct 15-story buildings. A 15-story building in Tagaytay, near to our other original building, and it will house innovation hubs and also billeting for the students. So it cost a lot. It took us, I think, the initial budget is 800 million, and the new one now is 1.56, I think, billion. But that is a costly way to implement this one right now. But the implication, the impact, will be felt in decades to come. So we provide solutions strategically because we're able to look into the problems in an innovative manner, using artificial intelligence at some point, and some are also imposing the knowledge that we have, the experience that we learn, putting it into applicable solutions. So, next slide, please. The pathway we take is from data to resilience. Risk is the problem, probably, that we look into, and with that, the multitudes of data, but our end game is organizational resiliency. We do not put solutions to things just because there should be solutions. We put solutions to things to make us stronger, to make us more resilient than what we are right now. Remember, our institution is a government-owned and controlled corporation. We do not have general appropriation funding from the government. We earn our own keep. So should the government try to remove, for example, I am not saying this is going to happen, but should the government try to remove some funds from other agencies, DAP can still operate independently because our money is our money. We earn that money. So that's why resilience is very, very important to us. So I mapped the data to resilience pathway into this particular line. So we do predict, we prioritize, and we respond. So this is what I have sampled earlier. We utilize artificial intelligence or computational intelligence to map out the risk, provide possible solutions, and then, as mentioned earlier, we lump up the ones who can be coupled into a group that can possibly be addressed by a solution, and then we prioritize it. There is a ranking system. What is urgent? What needs to be done? What has the greater impact? What will impact us for like a month or so, or what will impact us for 5 years, 10 years, and probably has a snowball effect in the future. So we always look into the greater impacts that can be prevented, and we prioritize those actions. So in the prediction, you detect, of course, the emergence risk, the early warning signs, the scenario insights. Then in the prioritization, you rank risk intelligently. What comes first? You can use data-driven scoring here and similarity concepts or analysis, and cluster, of course, the group per risk. You can reveal the patterns, actually. You will, if you use the formula I have mentioned earlier, since we have applied that one, I will show you the sample later. You can map out, and you will have a realization that some of this risk were actually effect of other risk. This particular risk happened because that particular risk happened first. So we identify the mother risk. That's the priority, because some of it are just children or grandchildren at some point. So the mothers should be addressed first. That's prioritization. And we allocate resources wisely. So we focus on the resources on high impact and high likelihood risk. And of course, we respond. We act with confidence, data-driven actions. We make informed decisions faster. The organization is fond of creating TWGs, brainstorm prior suggesting actions, and after the suggestion of the action, we hire external expert to look into it, the possibility of doing this. Then after that, we deliberate again. Then that's the time we make the decision. So continuous adaptation, we learn from the new data, because every now and then something new will come up. Something really new will come up. Some of those things we do not even know will happen. Nobody knows COVID will happen. And of course, the totality of it, the end point is resilience. Technology alone cannot create resilience. Governance create resilience. So with stronger outputs, we enhance resilience, performance, and trust. And if our organization is true to its mandate and purpose, it's free from any issues, then it's a trustworthy organization deserving to carry the banner of our country. Next, please. I have few points to just sum up. No, we need to integrate, anticipate, prioritize, and respond. So building resilience that lasts. As mentioned earlier, risk is no longer an event. It is a permanently operating condition. And I recall the message of Dr. Yang earlier. She said, deeper research, deeper research. It is our duty to do deeper research, because if we do research, we do prototypes, we fail, repeat again. Research, prototype, we fail. Several times, even if we fail, we have to do it, because eventually we can come up with a solution that industries can test. And that particular solution can maybe a new technology later on, which can make our lives easier. So organizations are something that, for example, the academic institution, they are the foreground of these discoveries. So it is, as educators, it is our duty to be the steerers of these innovative activities in our academies. And next, please. So this is the sample of what I have mentioned earlier. This is what we did in our academy. We created the pattern I've shown earlier, the network we have established on how to transform the raw data into use computational intelligence and become something which we use proactively. That is just screenshot of the entirety of the system. It's not perfect. I know that there is certain room for improvement, every now and then, every month probably, somebody from our IT will see something that needs to be fixed, something that needs to be improved. Might be this will be integrated into a larger system later on. This might be contained only in my organization, or probably this may be experienced by other organizations as well. But then again, artificial intelligence and computational intelligence offer these tools. Why not use it? So why not use it to strengthen governance, improve resilience, and support better decisions? Next. So I will leave you to this quote, "The future belongs to those who anticipate risk, govern it wisely, and build resilience that lasts." The future of risk governance will not be purely human-driven nor purely AI-driven. It needs to be human-led, but AI-augmented. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Baltazar, for sharing your valuable insights and expertise. Her discussion on AI-driven risk governance and leveraging computational intelligence for organizational resilience is incredibly timely, reminding us how technology can fortify institutions against the complexities of tomorrow. Once again, let us all give a round of applause to our keynote speaker. May we now call on the center stage Professor Jitam Singh Tomar, Professor Daniel D. Dasig, Professor Manish Dixit, and Dr. Felina C. Young to award our plaque of recognition to our keynote speaker. And let me read the plaque of recognition citation. The plaque of recognition is proudly presented to Dr. Aline Joy D. Baltazar in grateful recognition and sincere appreciation as a keynote speaker of the 18th IEEE International Conference on Computational Intelligence and Communication Networks, held on June 11 to 14, 2026 at the Conrado Benitez Hall, Philippine Women's University. Your distinguished expertise, insightful presentation, and valuable contribution enriched the conference discourse, inspired researchers, educators, industry practitioners, and students. Your commitment to scholarly exchange and innovation has greatly contributed to the success of this international gathering. Once again, let us all give a big round of applause to our first keynote speaker, Dr. Aline Joy D. Baltazar. We would like now to ask all our plenary and parallel session speakers, you could now sit on the front part of the hall. As we proceed to our second keynote session, to formally introduce our second keynote speaker, may I invite the academic head and program chair of the Bachelor of Science in Information System of the Mandaluyong College of Science and Technology. Let us all give a warm round of applause to Professor Dr. Meng V.P. Gatpandan.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for this session, Professor Shekhar Verma. Professor Verma is a professor of information technology at the Indian Institute of Information Technology, Allahabad. He earned his Bachelor of Technology, Master of Technology, and PhD degrees from the Indian Institute of Technology, Varanasi. Over the course of nearly 4 decades in academia and research, He has made remarkable contributions to the field of machine learning, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. He has mentored 35 PhD scholars and more than 100 Masters of Technology students, and his scholarly works includes over 200 journal publications and 150 conference papers. Today, Professor Virma will be sharing his expertise on the topic Guidance for Diffusion Models. As many of us know, generative AI has rapidly transformed the technology landscape from creating realistic images and videos to advancing scientific research and intelligence system. Diffusion models have become one of the driving forces behind this innovation. In this keynote, Professor Virma will help us to understand not only how diffusion models work, but also how guidance mechanisms can make these systems more accurate, controllable, and useful in real-world application. This topic is especially timely as researchers, educators, and industry practitioners continue to explore both the opportunities and challenges presented by the modern AI technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming our keynote speaker, Professor Shekhar Virma.
Good morning, everyone. Greetings from India. Namaste. I'm thankful to the organizers of the conference, and my heartfelt thanks to the university, the Women Philippine University here. Over the course of next 45 minutes, I'll be talking about diffusion models. And I'll assume basic understanding of mathematics and probability. If you do not have, then also it's good. Otherwise, a little understanding of the basics of probability and basics of maths will take us far. So let's see what we are talking about. What we are talking about is that, next slide please. We'll be talking about diffusion models, but before that, let's talk of generative modeling. Whenever we try to produce some new data, how do we really try to do it? We see the current data. We try to find out the probability distribution of that particular data. And then either we try to learn that probability distribution, or we try to produce samples of that probability distribution. Let's see it in a more mundane manner. For example, we have all of us here. We see faces. We see the faces, and then all images, what we do is, we find the histogram, the color RGB, and we draw the histogram. How many of us have green, how much of red, how much of blue, and this particular histogram, when normalized, is called the probability distribution function. And the point of interest is this: if we are able to learn what is the right PDF, or what is the right probability distribution function, in that case, we can take a sample from that probability distribution. And if I have the PDF of all the faces here, then a new sample would look like a face of a participant. However, it will not be a real face. It will be something which is similar but not real. So that's the idea. If you see all Hollywood movies, and see Hollywood movies of a particular genre, say action, and if you are able to learn the distribution of that particular movie, as soon as we have the movies, it's just a vector, and if you are able to learn the distribution of the movies, probability distribution of the movies, we can take a sample, which just means that we are in position to create a new movie just by sampling. That's the idea of generative AI. Something which powers all large language models like Claude, like ChatGPT, like Gemini, like Meta. All of them are powered by generative AI, and the basic idea which I said is the same. Observe, try to learn the PDF, create more of the same. Next slide, please. So when we say observe, characterize the phenomenon, try to learn the PDF, and generate new data. Next slide, please. So this is the example of a generative model in which what we have done is it tries to, on the left-hand side is the data is given to you. And generative model tries to learn the PDF, which is the probability distribution function, and then creates more of the same. You take the sample from the generative model. Either you learn the PDF or you just learn to produce more of the same. If you see on the right-hand side, we have samples which are not a part of the original data set. And hence, we have been able to create images which look like the older ones, but they do not exist in reality. On the left-hand side, you have pictures from the real world. On the right-hand side, pictures which do not exist in nature. They are all synthetic. In the words of some people would say it's deep fake, but yes, they are all synthetic images. Next slide, please. So we have 4 different models through which we actually try to learn the probability distribution function. The first one came, which is known as Generative Adversarial Network, 2016. It came 2014-16. Then we had variational autoencoders, which came around 2015. Then we had a leap, which were called the normalizing flows. And then we have the latest kid on the block, which are diffusion models, which we know powers the entire large language models together with transformers. They model the ChatGPT, the Claude, Gemini most of them are implemented using diffusion models. Next slide, please. So let's talk about diffusion models, and I'll try to go real basic, and then we'll move to the frontiers of technology. Next slide, please. So the idea is very simple. The idea is, in diffusion model is that you have, say, a data, say we have an image. We start adding a small amount of noise to it. And we keep on adding noise till it becomes noise. So here we are, we have a picture, say we have any picture of, say, Mona Lisa, and then we keep on adding a small amount of noise till it becomes totally noisy. This is the start of the diffusion model. And then what we do is, we try to go from noise back to data. So the second part is, we try to go from noise back to the data. We try to retrace the steps. Can we do that? The idea is yes, we can do that. And once we do it for many images, from image, add small amount of noise till it becomes pure noise, and then what happens is you take the noisy image or the pure noise, Gaussian noise, and keep on trying to retrace the steps, go back to the image. Next slide, please. So the first part, as I said, is the forward process. It's a Brownian motion that we have learned in our high school early. Any piece of data, slowly you add noise, it will just meander through, go to noise. And this is what is called the forward process. So in forward process, suppose we have data, we add a small amount of noise. So its PDF changes. The probability distribution function changes. So it becomes qxt given xt minus 1. So at each point of time, we are actually adding a small amount of noise. Then, as we go along the forward transition process, what happens is we keep on adding noise. So ultimately, what results is a pure noise. That means a noise with mean 0 and a standard normal distribution. So that's pure noise that we have. Now, next slide please. Now, you see what is happening. We have an image, we are keep on adding noise till it becomes pure noise. And the transition process, as you can see, you keep on adding noise, and the last line, qxt, given xt minus 1, that means I am here, I take a small step, a little noisier step, noisier step, noisier step, noisier step, and then I'm pure noise, and this is how the forward process goes on. Next slide, please. One more view of this. We have a data distribution which is highly wiggly. It's actually in a very high dimension, but we are showing it in just one dimension. Keep on adding noise till it becomes qx sub t, which is pure noise. Next slide, please. Then comes the hard part. We want to go from noise, learn to retrace the step back to the original data. Can we retrace? And this is the stochastic step that we are having. It's the random thing which is going to happen. So what we do is, we start from that, try to predict the noise at each step. See, we are at a pure noise step. We want to go back to the image we had started from. So what we do, what we are given the noise, we are given the end point. We are also given the original image, because we are training, we know which image was translated into noise. So we have noise, we have the original image. Now you have to reconstruct all steps. So from here, given the noise, first step, given the image from where we started, we predict what would have been the noise. We predict that, and then predict the next step, then predict the next step, then predict the next step. So we are predicting the trajectory of the noise to the image. The forward process was a trajectory from image to the noise, from the noise now back to the original image, which is the reverse trajectory. So this is called the reverse process. And then how do we learn this? We learn this using a neural network. So we use, in general, use a ResNet or a UNet or a CNN, or nowadays we have a diffusion transformer which can be used to learn the reverse trajectory. So we keep on learning. For one image, we learn the reverse trajectory. For the other image, we learn the reverse trajectory. For the third image, we learn the reverse trajectory. And my neural network is learning how to transform noise into actual images by learning the trajectories. Next slide, please. So the reverse process, if you look at it mathematically, would be something like this. Would be that the initial probability of the image x naught, where we started with, the pristine image, the theta that we are talking about is actually the parameters of the neural network. And this can be written as a product of all the probabilities at all steps. So the probability density function, or the probability PDF of x naught, is equal to the product of all probabilities. And here you are. The probabilities are written mathematically like this, and then comes a deep mathematical result. If we start from noise, and it has a Gaussian distribution, and we take very small steps, then at each step the PDF does not change. It remains Gaussian. So this is, as I said, in class 12th or class 10th, we had studied as Brownian motion. The movement of very pollen grains in water, or the movement of smoke in air, or the movement of perfume or fragrance in air. We are trying to recreate that. From one point, you are going to another point. From noise to image, we are trying to use a neural network to learn the reverse trajectories. And we do that for all images that we have. So suppose we all are there. I have the photographs of the images of everyone here. I put that into a neural network. I add noise from every image, get the noisy image. And from here, I retrace the trajectories. So I have a bunch of trajectories. From noise, I have learned to go to any point of the original images. So from noise, I can go to legible, real images defined or which are present in this particular room. So that's the reverse process. And how do you learn? That's the point which is important, which is called, we use a neural network. And basically, we use a unit which is parameterized by weight parameters theta. Next slide, please. So here you are. The formal definition is like this. From right-hand side, noise, we go and try to retrace the steps and learn these steps. The important thing is that learning of these steps requires some function to be learned. And this function is modeled as a neural network. And this neural network is a unit, or we have transformers, as I said. Next slide, please. Now, at each step, as you can see, you have a neural network. A neural network is just a mapping between input and output. It learns using some loss function, so we know that. So what we do in training, what is given is the original image, what is given is the noise. We start with noise at each step. So at each step, what we have to do is, you have to find out the direction in which you have to go. So how do you know the direction? The direction is the dy by dx, or the gradient. So if you are walking down the hill, you find out the gradient, which is the direction which will lead me to the bottom, which is the gradient, the steepest direction. So we move in that direction, try to retrace the steps, keep the retrace knowledge in a neural network, and this is the training process that we have. Next slide, please. So this is a summary that we have. So as you can see, we are starting from something which is some figure here, some actual image. We keep on adding noise in the reverse direction. At the bottom, as you can see, we have the neural network, which is a unit which learns the trajectories going from the noise to images. And we do that for the entire data set. Next slide, please. Then comes the stronger part. Now, my neural network, or the unit, has been able to learn the reverse trajectory, how to transform from noise to some actual image, all images present in this particular class. So now if I give it a noise and don't do anything, it will retrace some trajectory back to an image. It may be an image of a person here, it may not be an image of a person here, but it will have very close similarity with the persons present here. So we are able to generate new data of a kind which we want to. So if I take many beautiful, say, landscape sceneries here, put them through noise, learn the trajectory from noise to these beautiful wall paintings here, then I'll be in a position to generate new paintings which will be similar to these paintings, but will not be one of them. That's the idea here. Next slide, please. So in the sampling process, which is starting from noise, we say we take pure noise, retrace the steps, and generate new data. Next slide, please. So this is a summary of the entire thing. So we have the forward process, then you train, in which you learn the trajectories from noise back to the data, and it will mathematically involved. So at each point, we find out the gradient, that means move in which direction. So that is given by predicting the amount of noise. So at each step from noise, we try to predict in which direction should I move so that the noise will be lessened a little. Little noise goes away. And then we predict that. And then the last step, for those who are mathematically inclined, we also say, let's not move to the steepest direction. Why? Even a country like your beautiful country, if you go from hill downhill, people would say, don't follow the steepest direction, don't follow the river, don't follow the stream. Why? Because it's very dangerous. So take some direction which is not the steepest direction. So we add a little amount of noise. We just deviate from the steepest direction, but still go down. And that is what is the last term here, when we add some noise. So we keep on going and we'll hit the bottom. But it's like that. You are going from bottom, you are going to up, and then from up you have to come down. When you come down, you may not go to the same place. You may land at a new place. So you may land or create a new painting which was not there. So what you have learned the path from a number of noise to a number of good places in the city, from the hill to the valley. But when you start, then it is quite possible that you don't land up somewhere where you started from. And that is generating new data. Next slide, please. Now what happens is that this much is okay. But then we want to create data. Suppose we have learned how to create faces. But now I want to create a face which is closest to ma'am here. We want to create a very wise, beautiful face. So how do we do that? We say, okay, you have been allowed to create P of X. But I now say, you should be similar to, given that the face is similar to ma'am. So I give a condition. And this giving a condition is what is called guidance. I want to go from the hilltop to the bottom, but I want to go to a beautiful lake. So I give a condition, create a path wherein I go from the top to the valley, but to a beautiful lake. So I give a condition, and this is what is called a guidance mechanism. Next slide, please. So in guided diffusion, what we do is that we try to condition the sampling process. Let's see it mathematically. I say, and this is one of the applications I'm talking about, I say, yes, that I measure, say, the vitals. A patient comes to a doctor is there, the patient comes to her office, clinic. What does the doctor do? Takes a lot of measurements. So then tries to predict the disease. When he is taking measurements, it's very interesting. When he takes measurements, mathematically we say, given that he suffers from some disease, what will be the vitals? So I repeat, given the disease, some underlying disease, what would be the measurements? His fever, other pathological blood, all measures are there. So given the disease, we have some measurements or pathological tests. But what does the doctor do? He says, no, I don't have to do this. What I have to do is I have to predict the disease given the symptoms. So the whole thing is reversed. Not what he has done, he has predicted, he has found the measurements, symptoms given the underlying disease. And what he is doing, he is trying to predict the disease given the measurements. So actually, mathematically, he would say, I have to give you Py given X is given to you, but I have to tell you what is Px given Y. And if you go back to your class 10th, you will say that this is related to the Bayes theorem, which says that Px given Y is proportional to Py given X into Px. And this Px is not given to you. What is this Px? Px given Y. X is the disease given the symptoms is equal to P symptoms given the disease into the general distribution of the disease. What is the disease happening here today? So this Px is actually the experience of the doctor. And this Px we want to learn, and actually the diffusion model learns Px. It learns the experience of the doctor. It learns from so many diseases that now I am able to, given the symptoms, I'll be able to predict a disease. But then I want for particular symptoms. So what I'm saying is, given the condition, can I generate a conditional probability? Given that I have the faces of all of you, I have learned how to generate faces of all of you, can I generate a face which is beautiful, wise, old? Yes, we can do that. That is a condition we want to give. So that is a guidance mechanism. Next slide, please. So, to repeat what I had said, diffusion models are generative models. They are able to generate new data. However, we want to do some conditional generation, and that is given by guidance mechanisms. Next slide, please. So, this came in 2021, 22, 23, and it's the hottest topic in diffusion models. This is what diffusion models makes diffusion models very, very useful today. So, next slide, please. So, what we say is that what we can do is we know that P xt given y, xt is the data that you're going to generate, y's are the conditions that you have, is equal to the unconditional distribution, which is called the prior, into the conditional distribution y given xt. So while we are going back from noise to data, we want to emphasize on the condition. So we put it to the power of lambda, which is called the temperature or the guidance scale. So here you are, what we are having is, we are saying that we want to generate P of xt given the condition y, which is equal to P xt, which we are generating, into P y given xt. If you remember Bayes' theorem, it will tell you that the posterior probability is proportional to the prior into the likelihood. So the right hand side is a likelihood. And what we do is, we try to generate this. So now, lambda is called the temperature. Suppose this is the distribution that we have. You put lambda, the modes are going to rise. It will become a sharper mode. We are going to sharpen the places which we want to generate. Next slide, please. So what are the guidance mechanisms? So what we do is, we say that we train two classifiers, we train two diffusion models. One which is taking the images, going to noise, and we are recreating the images. The second one is a slightly different. We train another classifier in which what we do is, we have faces, we say this is the face of this person, this is the face of this person, this is the face of this person, and then learn the conditional diffusion also. And by combining the two, we are in a position to create the left hand side. That means the conditional image using two classifiers. This is what is called classifier guided mechanism. Next slide, please. Next slide. And these classes can be great. These classes can be, as I said, this can be, the condition can be anything. I want to create an image given something. So I want to create an image given some text. This is what is called a prompt in LLM. I want to create some data given some data, which is a prompt. Next slide, please. So in this case, on the left-hand side, we have been able to create generic data. On the right-hand side, we have been able to create with guided mechanisms. Next slide. So this is the algorithm for it. As you can see, we have the gradients, and everything is still Gaussian. Next slide. Then we have what is called classifier-free guidance. As you can see, these diffusion models are heavy, computational heavy. You need to buy a lot of GPUs. You need to buy GPUs from NVIDIA. And then, if you are going and training two different models, then it will take a lot of time. So what we do is, we train one model itself with conditions, with non-conditions. And when we do that, we are able to generate the images or the conditional images using one diffusion model. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide, please. So this is the images. As you can see on the left-hand side, we have unconditioned image. On the right-hand side, we have classifier-free images. Next slide, please. Next slide. And then a brief run-through of different kinds of guidance models. So we have what is called reward guidance, which uses reinforcement learning. Next slide, please. Then we have plug-and-play guidance, in which we have a classifier, which can be a safety checker, which can be a reward model, which can be a property predictor, and we can create new models. So if you are, for example, my previous esteemed speaker talked of prediction and actionable artificial intelligence. So if you are able to do reinforcement learning, if you are able to say have safe AI, then we will be able to use plug-and-play models. Next slide. Then we have semantic guidance, which uses a transformer model. Next slide, please. Next slide. I'll just skip this. Important. Next. Next. I'll leave a lot of maths here. I'll leave the slides with you. Anybody can discuss with me later. Next. Next. So, for example, we have an implementation which is called stable diffusion, in which we can give prompts like this. Suppose we talk about the English breakfast, a classical British breakfast featuring a diverse selection of cooked delights, perfect for filling and flavorful start of the day. This is a prompt we have given. We want to convert this text into an image. Next slide, please. So here you are. We are able to create a medieval feast from the prompt. So this is text to image generated by stable diffusion model. Next slide, please. This is the English breakfast. What we have given is, we have given the prompt, create an English breakfast with these dishes. So the diffusion model is able to create an image using these dishes. Next slide, please. Next. Next slide. So here you are. We have, say, text to video. We give text and we convert that into a video. Next slide, please. Can we learn? Can you please run this? At the bottom, you should be in a... Hello, sir. Can you run this? This is a video. Is that a PDF or your PPT that you have? Can we run this? So what we are doing is, we are able to convert a low resolution image into a high resolution image, a low resolution video into high resolution video. So what we can do is, we can convert, as you can see, this left-hand side is classifier-free guidance, right-hand side is a high-resolution video. Next slide, please. This is again a video which comes from a latest paper in the area. So it is able to convert a low-resolution image into a very high-resolution image. Next slide, please. Similarly, we can create an Asian tiger and then convert a low-resolution image, which is given by classifier-free guidance, into a spatial-temporal guidance, and it's a video which you can see later. And this is, we can create using a diffusion model. Next slide. Again, this lady as well. So we give a prompt, a close-up of a woman's face with colored powder exploding around her, creating an abstract splash of vibrant hues. So you give this text, convert that into a video, and the guidance scheme is able to create these videos. Next slide, please. So I conclude by saying that, obviously, the last message which I want to give to everyone is this. All of us, all researchers in AI should be working on diffusion models and latest generative AI models. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done for creating your own large language models in the country. And I implore, as ma'am said, that innovation is something that should be impactable to the society. It cannot be created in isolation. Basic research is important. We must have an impactable pathway to research. I implore all of us here to collaborate so that we are in a position to create our own Asian diffusion model and large language models. With that, thank you so much once again. Thank you. However, I just wanted to show the video. If it runs, I'll ask somebody to run it. Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. When I was talking to Sir Jitan, okay, about the use of neural network. Because I always use neural network to make a prediction. But based on your diffusion model, you are now returning with the noise, you are denoising, but it does not necessarily have to be going back to the original image, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, but my prediction is forward-looking. What you explained with your probability distribution and so on, it was going back. So can you just give us some more enlightenment on that?
On?
Yeah, yeah.
Enlightenment on?
Yeah, okay.
Sir, enlightenment on? Kya batana? What is to be told?
Summary.
Summary. So, let me summarize. See, what we want to learn here is, we have data, we have... okay. So, we have data, ma'am. Suppose we have collection of data. And suppose, very easy. Suppose we say that we have students from different branches here. What we do is, we collect their IQs or academic scores, and we collect their sports scores on a scale of 1 to 10. This is the data that we have, and then we know which university they come from. Say, suppose they are coming from different universities. Then my neural network is actually nothing but a function which is able to connect the input, in this case the IQ and the SQ, or the academic quotient and the sports quotient, to the university they come from. So 2 inputs, 1 output. What is a neural network? It is nothing but a function. It is able to learn the function, the connection. So that is the only, it is y is equal to fx, f is the neural network. So it's not a mathematical model, no mathematics. It is able to learn the relation from data. Now a student walks in and he gives you his AQ and SQ. Now you have to predict which university he comes from. So you push it into the trained network, give the AQ and SQ. The output should give the correct university. And if you have sufficient amount of data, it should be able to learn. Now we translate this into a slightly different thing. We say, okay, every phenomenon in the nature is random. And randomness is characterized by probability distribution. Can this function f not be deterministic but stochastic? So that's a diffusion model, or that's a GAN, in which you are able to learn a stochastic or a random function. Given the data, learn the randomness. Now if you will give the input, all the time if you toss a coin, it will not be heads. Every time it might be different, it's random. So the output here is random, but it follows a particular distribution. For example, I'll give you an example of stochasticity. Suppose I ask you to stand with probability half. Will you keep sitting or you stand up? So if you keep sitting, then you are standing with probability 0. If you stand up, you are standing with probability 1. What I am saying is stand up with probability half. Now this means that if I ask you 100 times, you should be standing around 50 times, and around 50 times you keep on sitting. How do you do that from the computer? So what we say, it's easy. You toss a coin. Heads I stand, tails I don't. Can you learn that in the function? The answer is yes. That is the stochasticness that we want to learn. And diffusion model is able to do just this. Learn the stochasticity in the data, and then be able to produce more of the same, which follows the same kind of randomness. Yes, ma'am. So if you have songs of a particular famous singer, you push all of them in, the neural networks, a diffusion model is able to learn the voice of that particular singer. Then if you give somebody else's voice, it will convert it to the voice of that famous singer. So we are already doing that. I have it for my own Indian songs. So we can create new movies, we can create videos, and this also creates what are known as deep fakes. Thank you. Ma'am, you have... Thank you so much, but I think ma'am has some wise observations I would like to hear. Yes, ma'am. Keep sitting, ma'am, please.
Check, check.
Hello. Thank you very much for your lecture.
Thank you, ma'am.
But the question I am going to raise with you is a question I should have raised with the lady Filipina who has left. And I am told you can answer my question, then I'll go and proceed.
I'll try to, ma'am.
The lady talked a lot about the use of AI. In many ways, it has facilitated our work, but AI can very well be run by people with ultimate risks and who can be criminals and who do not have good faith. So how do you safeguard? What steps does one take to safeguard? She was from Development Academy of the Philippines. What steps should she have taken or is taking to safeguard against the risks of AI?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for the wise question. I think this is one of the most burning areas in which we call a safe AI, ethical AI. So the first answer to that is, ma'am, what we are trying to do is, we say that try to explain every decision that the AI model is taking. So that's the branch which is called explainable AI. So when you go to the doctor and he uses an AI, he tells you why he has taken a decision. So the machine itself spits out the reasons for taking a decision. The second thing is more involved. They're so involved that people in Claude, people who have inventors, for people who has got a Nobel Prize in AI, Mr. Hinton, we are all saying that we should put a check because the ethics cannot be inbuilt into the AI. And to your surprise and my surprise, ma'am, Claude, which is one of the most powerful engines today, its own code, 80% of its own creation is actually, it has created by itself. So there is a warning by the inventors of Claude, which is a large language model, that we should try to put safeguards, otherwise it will have a life of its own, and tomorrow it will try to serve itself rather than serving humanity. So inclusiveness from the society will be gone, and this is a burning question which, ma'am, engineers and scientists will not be able to answer. People like you who are wise and who have traveled and you have seen the world, I think, and been in the public domain will be in a position to answer. What safeguards need to be put? We do not have any answers to this at the present moment, except saying that we should have, the world should not really go in for this particular research. But then criminals and others, rogue countries will obviously go on. So ma'am, at the present moment, we don't have answers. We are all terrified by the future. Excited and terrified. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mar Verma, for sharing your brilliant expertise and valuable insights. His profound discussion on the frontiers of deep generative learning, particularly the intricacies of diffusion models and the diverse processes, truly illuminates the future of how artificial intelligence simulates, creates, and understands complex data. And it's breakthroughs like this that drive the next wave of computational intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let us all give our esteemed keynote speaker another well-deserved round of applause. We now proceed to our highly anticipated plenary sessions. To formally introduce our first plenary speaker for this morning, it is my privilege to invite to the stage the Dean of the School of Hospitality Management right here at the Philippine Women's University. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Efraim Will Jose El Abellana.
Mabuhay. I am very privileged to introduce our speaker. Professor Dr. Joselito Edward E. Go is a Professor 7 and Research Coordinator at the School of Management and Information Technology of the Lasal College of St. Benilde, Manila, Philippines. A professional computer engineer, PCPE, with over 2 decades of experience in information technology and engineering education. He holds a Doctor of Technology and a Master of Engineering in Computer Engineering from the Technological University of the Philippines. His research interests include artificial intelligence, machine learning, tiny ML, Internet of Things, IoT, embedded systems, software engineering, and intelligent information systems. He has authored numerous peer-reviewed publications and has presented his work in various national and international conferences. His applied research has contributed to areas such as assistive technologies, smart systems, disaster risk reduction, education technology, and AI-enabled embedded applications. Dr. Go actively mentors undergraduate and graduate researchers and serves in various academic and research leadership capacities. He is also affiliated with the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, as an evaluator for academic quality assurance and faculty development initiatives. Through his research and professional engagements, he advocates the practical and socially responsible application of emerging technologies to address real-world challenges and improve quality of life through innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Dr. Go. Let's give him a big hand. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me, and it's a privilege to be to join you today as a plenary speaker at CICN 2026. Okay, my talk focuses on a simple yet quite important question in artificial intelligence. As AI systems are becoming more and more powerful in today's age, do we really have to always create bigger and larger or complex models to improve the performance? Using TinyML as a case study for this presentation, I will show you an example on how to improve performance using better training data instead of having more complex neural network. Next, please. So, why TinyML matters? AI is moving from data centers and cloud platforms, and it's actually implemented everywhere. So we have AI in sensors, we have AI in wearable devices, we have AI in household, even in assistive technologies. And a typical traditional AI model usually require substantial amount of computational resource. And for edge application that requires real-time intelligence, a typical AI cloud-based platform has some limitation. So number one, it has latency issue, privacy issue, connectivity, and even energy consumption problems. So a good example would be probably a self-driving car, wherein we know it's an Internet of Things application. However, there are core features of these kinds of application that cannot be left on the cloud, meaning the intelligence must happen locally in real time. We don't want to to rely on the braking mechanism of this self-driving car and then wait for like 500 milliseconds for it to respond. Similar to the acceleration, similar to its spatial awareness, the 3D modeling surrounding it. So what we're saying is there are things that must be left in the cloud, and there are things like intelligence that must be placed in an actual machine, in an actual device. So TinyML, it's actually addresses these things. So it addressed the challenges in cloud AI limitations such as latency, privacy, and energy consumption. And when we talk of TinyML, it allows machine learning model to run on low power microprocessors and microcontrollers so that AI on the edge, meaning it solves the issue of latency and privacy as well as connectivity issues. So, next. Now, the real world problem, or the real world deployment problem is this one. A typical model that achieves high accuracy in a controlled laboratory environment may sometimes fail during the deployment. So, I'm talking about that there is some kind of gap that happens between the platform testing and the actual deployment testing. And if you are like me, who usually perform things on the computer and then try to deploy it in an actual physical device, you'll see this gap. And the primary culprit there is that's what we call domain shift or distribution shift. Particularly if we are talking about noise, if we are talking about audio, the training data might be different from the actual environmental data wherein you will be deploying your device. So this is the primary problem that motivated this study. Next. Next slide, please. So our work is focused on this assistive audio recognition for DHH users. So DHH stands for deaf and hard of hearing individuals. Where I work is actually an academic institution wherein we have plenty of deaf and hard of hearing individuals, both students and workers. And many of the daily events that we don't usually recognize as important are actually very important to them. A simple doorbell, a simple phone ring, or even a fire alarm is actually significant audio that for them to be notified. And TinyML is actually a good thing for this kind of individuals, as it can give alternative mode of notification. Instead of hearing, it can be used to visually alert these DHH individuals, as well as it can give haptic feedback. So the actual challenge of the system that we are trying to create is not how to classify doorbell, not how to classify fire alarm or phone ring, but when deployed to an actual environment wherein this environment can present different kinds of environmental noise, the performance suddenly drops because it cannot account for the variability of the environmental noises. So if you can click next, we have a short demo video for the prototype. I'm hoping it should play in full screen. Did you click next? Next, please. Sorry. Probably it has a problem with the playing the video. Okay, thank you. It's not playing. How sad. Should I continue? Anyway, just to give you an idea, the demo prototype has has 4 actionable sounds. It has doorbell, fire alarm, and phone ring, and then an additional oven ding sound. When the device hears this, it actually converts this sound into a visual alert for these deaf or hard of hearing individuals can recognize. So the main problem is that if we rely the intelligence of this device on the cloud, the latency, the delay for the device to respond might be too late. That's why TinyML offers this opportunity for us to run the model on the actual microchip that has limited power resources or computing resource. In a way, the main challenge there is that after our deployment, we often encounter that it usually recognizes unwanted sound as actionable sound. It typically hears people running, closing of the door as an actual actionable sound. And it's quite frustrating when you develop something like this one. So what we're proposing is this. Next slide, please. The key idea behind our implementation is we created 2 models. So we created 2 models, and then we conducted an experiment wherein we only change 1 variable. We don't want to change the complexity of the neural network. We didn't change the hardware requirements. We didn't change any parameter. What we changed is the data set. Why? Because when you create models that run on low-power devices, you don't want complexity. Even though you want accuracy, you want better performance. But the problem is, if there's too much complexity, the model might get bigger, and there's no room for your actual application to run to. So in this kind of situation, Model 1 with a fair amount of noise, similar to the other actionable sound, while Model 2, we created another class that some sort of a catch-all basin for all unwanted noises. So surprisingly, my talk is also noise, wherein the talk prior to this one is also noise. But the difference is that we intentionally added more noise. We added noise to the other model to determine if the difference in the data set will actually mean something and can have a significant improvement in our model performance. So nawala na. Anyway. Okay. Okay. So I'll try to continue my presentation while they are preparing my presentation. Sorry. Yep, sige. While waiting for the video to play, the reason why we did this is that we want to identify if Model 2 having an expanded noise class will have a significant effect on the performance of the audio classifier during the deployment. So we have 2 ways of testing it. One is on the cloud, the actual laboratory platform where we created the model, and the other one is after we uploaded the model to the actual microchip and then perform the actual classification in real time during the real world environment. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. So by the way, we have two microcontrollers here. One is responsible for the actual AI running on the model, and the other one is for the implementation of the Internet of Things. So there's supposed to be a sound there that you can hear, and there are predefined set of lights that will blink for several seconds or a minute, depending on what type of sound it's actually hearing. So medyo nakapause siya. Yan, thank you. So this is the extension of the actual application. So aside from it being, or aside from the model running on the actual microchip, we also have extended the features to the cloud. But for the purpose mainly of configuring the device. You can change the settings, you can be notified through your phone as well. But rest assured that the actual intelligence is not happening on the cloud, but the intelligence is happening on the device. So that's what we are after here. Now, as I have mentioned a while ago, the main challenge here is not actually how to determine or how to classify these different kinds of audio, but how to isolate this audio from being classified as doorbell, fire alarm, or phone ring, despite it's actually a noise. And for deaf or hard of hearing individuals, it's kind of frustrating to hear a fire alarm, to be notified that there is a fire alarm going on, but in reality, there's none. Okay? Okay.
Well done, Pete. Okay, this is where you and I part ways.
Okay, next slide, please. Okay, next slide, please. The other one. So, during the initial platform performance, both model, the one with fair amount of noise and the other one, model 2, is the expanded noise, you will see the feature distribution. On the left is model 1, on the right is model 2, but both perform actually high. They both received 100% accuracy during the platform model testing. But that's not the issue. The issue is, if you take a look at this one, this is highly compact and highly clustered, which is actually good. And this one is more dispersed in a way, and you think that this one is more desirable compared to this. However, next slide, during the actual deployment, there is a difference in accuracy with the two models. The first one is only 81% accurate, and the other one is 96% accurate. And if you notice that we have 80% error reduction, but that's not actually the main point here. A simple, around 15% accuracy improvement is not the main issue. The main accomplishment of this research that we've conducted, next slide please, is actually, it almost eliminated the false positive virtually. So if we just focus on accuracy and we don't really look at how the precision and recall is actually proportionate, the bottom line on the model 1, let the noise class at the bottom part of the confusion matrix, you will see that most of the noise are classified as either doorbell, fire alarm, or either phone ring. It's actually high. It means it has high recall. There's no problem recalling that the sound is actually a doorbell. There's no problem recalling that the sound is actually a fire alarm. However, it has a low recall, it has a low precision that it actually recognizes other types of noises as doorbell and fire alarm and phone ring. So with the introduction of an expanded noise class in Model 2, you'll see that it virtually eliminated the bottom part on the right side, the noise that initially were correctly classified as 38%, and now the noise were correctly identified as 99% of the time. And this is very meaningful to us. Probably there are some sacrifice on the recall side, but the precision is greatly improved. Next, please. Now, on the part of TinyML deployment, this is quite important to us because having two kinds of model, the one is more accurate, the one has more greatly reduced the false positive, there is no performance gain because they consume exactly identical RAM, they consume almost identical flash memory when deployed on a microcontroller. 32 bytes is quite insignificant, and the actual processing time comparison is identical, 72 milliseconds to identify or to classify a sound. And it's very important for us because this is just the classification part. How about the actual or the other features that you will be embedding on the actual microcontroller? So next, please. Now, aside from that one, the idea of decoupling the noise class on a separate container instead of having to collect each actionable sound with embedded noise in it made us realize that this approach will have a significant impact on incremental dataset design. Meaning, if we want to add more noise, if we want to add more actionable sound, we don't have to we don't have to regather all the data set and retrain the model as compared to the new approach that we are creating. So next, please. The lesson for this is that I want to impart is that typically the initial mindset that when we have a poor performance detected in the deployment, the initial instinct of us is to demand more compute, is to redesign and scale the model and the architecture. We really want to expand the model. We really want to create a bigger AI model. But in return, it demands more compute, more memory, and more energy. And speaking from the part of creating something on a smaller device, when we see performance detected in deployment, probably the initial step would be to think of the data, check the data, improve the data quality and diversity, and hoping that it will have a better robustness at an identical cost as compared to having more costly design. So next, please. So the future direction, definitely this, we have future research based on top of this one. We need to test for a multi-environment deployment. So so far it has been tested in rooms or in 27 square meter and below. The device hasn't been tested in hospitals, in public spaces, in malls. So definitely there will be different insights when we try to do that one. Also, we haven't tested adding multiple sounds. We only have added several, but not so many as we are expecting different results as well. And finally, we want to put it in a much smaller, quite handy for DHH individuals like wearable devices, smartwatch, or armband, something like that. Next, please. So as a closing message, I just want to impart that, on my experience, better AI does not always require bigger AI. And for this one, sometimes the next breakthrough might comes in a better training data, not in model complexity. So thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joselito Edward Go, for sharing your invaluable expertise and insights with us. His fascinating discussion on TinyML, from breakthrough applications in assistive audio recognition for deaf and hard of hearing users to the implementation of modular data design for scalability, truly demonstrates how we can isolate essential sounds while building robust, expandable systems. And it provides that the future of artificial intelligence isn't just advanced, it is highly efficient, scalable, and deeply human. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let us all give our first plenary speaker another warm round of applause. We now proceed to our second plenary session, and to introduce our next speaker, may we invite the Dean of the Conrado Benitez Institute for Business Education of the Philippine Women's University, Dr. Fernando Aita Leon.
Good afternoon. It is my privilege to introduce our second plenary speaker. He received his bachelor's in computer technology, his master's in communication control and networking, and his PhD in computer science, all from Rajiv Gandhi Technical University, Bhopal, India. He is currently working as a professor and head in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, MITS, Gwalior, India. He has organized more than 20 international conferences of IEEE in different capacities. He has presented more than 125 research papers in national and international conferences and journals. He is a fellow member of IETE and a senior member of IEEE. Friends, let us all welcome Dr. Manish Dixit.
Good morning to all of you. The Chancellor of the University, my friend, philosopher and guide, Dr. G.S. Tomar, Chair IEEE MP section, all the learned faculty members present here in this august gathering of 18th IEEE International Conference in the series. This conference is very important because the evolution has occurred somewhere around 2009. We had started, once we have started this conference, and this conference has been organized continuously since then in many of the cities of India and many countries of the world. So thanks to organizers for inviting me for this deliberation here. In fact, this is a plenary talk, so I thought that we should select a very general title, which is important for everyone, but of no importance nowadays. In fact, it is everybody's work, and when the work is of everybody, the work is for nobody's. So the topic which I have chosen is the curriculum enrichment for the technical education growth. In fact, this topic is very important, but nobody among the stakeholders look this topic as an importance. Because if you talk about the technical education, the stakeholders are the management, the stakeholders are the professors, the faculty members of the university, the stakeholders are the students of the university, the parents of the university, parents of the students, and the stakeholders are the alumni. But more or less, for the sake of name, everybody is there in the board to discuss about the curriculum, but the ultimate responsibility belongs to the faculty. So this is we actually who design the curriculum and who should see the importance of the curriculum, because this 4 year of graduation of a student, which is in fact the processing of the student, because raw material, they come in the institution in the first year and they have to out after the 4 year of the completion of their undergraduate course. And during these processing, on the basis of this 4 year processing, his whole life or the more than 40 years, there will be an impact of 40 years if you are studying these 4 years properly. So the curriculum is, in that way, is very important, because that is related with the employment, that is related with the growth, and that is related with the humanity also, that what that student will give in the future for the society. And that is more important. Next slide. So importance in the term, we can discuss it that it provides the strong fundamental knowledge to the students. The problem-solving approach is to be discussed. Prepare the student for the emerging technologies. So the current trends will always be there in the curriculum. How to incorporate is again the question, because we cannot change it frequently. Promotes creativity and innovation. Bridge the gap between the academia and industry, because ultimately it is felt when we discuss with the industries that whatever the graduates nowadays are produced by the university is not up to the really the ready to employable. Again, the training part is required. The encourage the student for the lifelong learning. That should be one feature of the importance. Build communication and teamwork skills. Develops the ethical and social responsibility. This is more or less the responsibility of the faculty, that that particular student should be well in ethics and it should be socially responsible. The curriculum must support the higher education also, because a student which is interested to go further for the higher studies, we are giving the base to produce that student to become ready for the higher education also. Promotes holistic development, that is the knowledge, skills, attitude, and value for the enhancing the employability. Next slide. So this will be a presentation roadmap, the global context and motivation. Then the important thing nowadays is that how do we incorporate the computational intelligence in the curriculum? It's a big question. CI, that is computational intelligence across engineering domains, holistic pedagogical approaches, project-based and experiential learning, implementation strategies, curriculum refinement framework. What are the advantages of such type of functionality in the curriculum, the global best practices, way forward and conclusion. Next slide, please. So the global context says that the job requiring in the artificial intelligence or in the computational skill by 2030 is 85 million, more than 85 million. The context is that the engineering curriculum globally needs reform. UNESCO in his studies in 2023 says that the reforms required in the curriculum is more than 40%. The faster pace of technology evolution and curriculum update cycle, it shows that 3 times, when we increase the curriculum, 3 times the technology has been changed till then. So technology change is 3 times faster than the curriculum updates. You can understand it like if we change a single subject, the requirement is 3 times high to change in the curriculum. So always we are behind that. Graduates report skill mismatch upon employment. So it is said by the industria that the 60% of the graduates which we are producing are not ready to employ. Again, the training requires, or we can train it through the curriculum for the 4 years of their graduations. 65% of the future jobs do not exist in the current form. So, of course, the continuous change is required. The gradual change is required in the curriculum because every year or every time, the 65% of the future job will not be in that particular form in which we are teaching for the students. And more or less, the economy also dependent on the artificial intelligence nowadays or in the computational intelligence, because everything is, data science, artificial intelligence, visualization of data, the impact of data, that creates the economy. Because that is the ultimate responsibility, that how we can getting that data and how we can using that data to increase the economy or the business of the country. Next slide. So this is some of the fast growing and declining jobs by 2030. Next, please. This is what why the curriculum enrichment matters. Because earlier, only the curriculum was based on the knowledge, or it was a knowledge-oriented, examination-centric, and limited industry relevance. Whatever the subjects which we had studied in 1950, those subjects are still there in the curriculum in 2026. So whether we have updated it or not, it matters. But nowadays, the requirement is that curriculum must be very much enriched. It depends on because employability depends on the skill, not on the education nowadays. If you are skillful, then you are employable only. Skill can be generated using the projects, different projects. You'll see in the curriculum, right from the beginning, there are micro projects, there are minor projects, there are macro projects, there are capstone projects, cornerstone projects, major projects. There are a number of projects. Why these projects are incorporated in the curriculum? There is a strong basis for it. Because whatever you have studied, it should be converted into the skills. Then only the project may be developed. Another very important thing which is related with the project is basically the interdisciplinary approach. Nowadays, only the knowledge or intelligence in your disciplines is not, you are perfect in your disciplines, that matters, but along with that, you must be ready to incorporate the learning of different disciplines also. So interdisciplinary approach is nowadays very important. That is why in the curriculum, the people are moving towards the open courses. You have to take the courses of the another stream. So what is the reason? This is the reason why the interdisciplinary approaches are necessary. If you want to design something, you are a computer engineer, if you want to design something for the another thing, like chip design, then you must have the knowledge, basic knowledge at least for the electronics engineering also, or maybe in electrical, chemical, or whatever it is. So that is required. Innovation, everybody is now going to talk about the innovation because you have to think out of the box rather than only the disciplinary teaching. And lifelong learning is required. That should be shown in the curriculum. Next slide, please. So everybody is nowadays talking about the AI, but as speakers discussed, that AI is not new. In 1950s, it was started. There was a famous book of Rich and Knight, and on the first page of that book, it is written how to make computers to do the things which at the moment people can do better. So this is the simple definition of the AI. Nowadays, AI is important because of what? Because we have a strong support system. At that particular time, a single computer was there, and nobody is allowed to touch that computer. But nowadays, everything is in your hand, laptop and maybe mobile also. Supporting system means a huge database has been generated. Everybody is having the database in his hand. Whenever you are using the mobile, lot of data has been created. Whenever you are using the CCTV, lot of data has been created. So a big data is there nowadays. That is a basic support system for the AI. The another thing is high-speed network. At that particular time when the AI was started, networking facility was very low. Nowadays, high-speed internet facilities are there everywhere. High memory storage is there, and high-end computing devices are there. So this is one of the reasons a strong support system has been developed, and now we are able to analyze the thing using the AI. So that is what today's AI actually. If you discuss the AI pyramid, a lot of data is required, a lot of information. You have converted the data into the information, and that information is ultimately, if you are fetching it from the different sources, a knowledge has been generated. Somewhere between the knowledge and wisdom, you need AI. That is intelligence, triggering the new thoughts. That is what we are required, because you have to think out of the box. So that whenever you are intelligent, triggering new thoughts, having a lot of knowledge, then only you create the decisions. You take the decision, and those decisions will always be right. That is the level of wisdom. So that is what required, the incorporation of the intelligence that is because we have the resource system. So the incorporation of computation intelligence in every stream of the engineering nowadays. Next slide, please. So this is basically the computation intelligence, consisting of so many things like neural network. Everybody is talking about the neural network that is mimic the human brain. Fuzzy logic is required. We have to accept the Boolean logic nowadays. Everything is fuzzy. Evolutionary algorithm. This is a big support to the taking the decisions, optimizations of the things. Swarm intelligence and machine learning. So these things. There are so many branches of the engineering, the institution, the universities are running. A lot of things are specialized, computer science and engineering, then computer science of design, then, computer science and business system, then so many programs of the computer science. The AI itself is a program nowadays, AI, then AI data science, AI machine learning, AI robotics. In fact, the IoT is, most growing field, computation. So all the specialized area of the computer science has been developed now, a single, stream. So computational intelligence is not required only in the computers, but they are required in the civil engineering, they are required nowadays in the mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, healthcare, and everywhere in the life, the intelligence is required. Because your kitchen is intelligent nowadays, your home is, smart, because you are using the IoT devices. So from the kitchen to cockpit, everything is important. Everything is intelligence. Few years back, I have purchased a good AC, General AC. It was an intelligent AC. So whenever the blinds of that, after 10 minutes, I make the blinds to air me, but at some moments, automatically the blinds moves upward because of the room temperature has been, reduced. Again, I feel irritated. Again, I switch on the light, then keep it on my side. Again, after 10 minutes, the blinds are automatically, moves upward. So we had to see that what intelligence is required, or whether it is creating convenience for that is what the ethical AI, convenient for just 2 minutes. So convenient for the society also. I'll finish it quickly. These are some of the, next slide please. Next slide. So not only in the computer science, everywhere it is required. Everybody knows the smart grid operation, fault detection, control system, signal processing, and renewable energy. Next. Mechanical and manufacturing engineering. Next. Required somewhere in the civil. People are incorporating it. People are incorporating it because a dynamic curriculum is required nowadays. At least some unit must be dynamic, which should be changed regularly. If we cannot frequently change the complete curriculum. Next slide, please. Okay, next one. These are some of the, incorporate area. Next one. This is the whole matrix of computational intelligence integration along the disciplines. We are doing it nicely. Next slide. So this is also a gist why the holistic approach is required in the curriculum enrichment, project-based learning, experiential learning, interdisciplinary integration, competency-based assessment, and industry, academia, and access. This is the gist in the curriculum. Next slide, please. Next. Okay, next. Every type of learning has been explained because we have lack of time. I'm, skipping these all slides. Yes. Next one. This is required. Yes. Next one. So this is the scene of the education 5.0. Started from the education 1.0, where the teacher-centric approach was followed in the curriculum. Then we had ICT-enabled curriculum. Then the collaborative learning and collaborative teaching is there. Somewhere in the country, the two teachers are teaching the same subject. Or in the class also, at the time of discussion with the student, two teachers are present for the same course. This is happening. Digital learning, and then the human-centered, AI-assisted. Yes, next one. Okay, these are related with the next one. This is what the triple helix model of the innovation. Industry must be there. Is a close connection with the institution, the university, and government should also support to make it the helix model for the innovation. Next slide. Different pedagogical studies, flipped classroom, blended and hybrid learning, research-led teaching, peer and near-peer mentoring, open educational resources. These are the pedagogies which nowadays people are using. Yes, next. 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 The change in the curriculum is not very frequent because of some reason that we are not able to find the expertise in the faculty also. So faculty development and computational intelligence development across the disciplines is also required. We can incorporate the different short-term workshops, MOOCs and certification programs, faculty exchange programs, teaching innovation and grants. Yes, next. Okay, next. Next one. Okay, so this is the PDA cycle: plan, do, check, and act. So last one is the act, more important because we have to revise the syllabi, retrain the faculty, update tools, and realign with the industry standards. Next. These are the different, accreditation standards we have to follow across the globe. NBA for the India, ABET for the USA and Global, Washington Accord, everybody knows for the outcome-based education. Yes, next. Okay, next. I think we should come to the conclusion slide next. We are already running short of the time. Next, please. Next. Next. Measuring of the success. Next. These are some of the field or the future trends where the frontiers of computational intelligence and the technical education is required. People are working on them and incorporating these things in our syllabi. Yes, next. Yes, next. This has shown the curriculum ecosystem. And you can see that the holistic development, these things are required. Next. Okay, next. Next. So this is the final thing is that it's a continuous process, because it cannot be, curriculum cannot be changed in a day. If I'll say you that tomorrow you have to change, make this change, it's very difficult. So it's a continuous process. We should keep this thing in mind, that regularly the updation are required, because learning can never be quarantined. It's a regular. Even in the corona, this learning is only the thing which was not quarantined. Everything was quarantined. Next. I think the closing thought is that computation intelligence is not the destination. It is the compass. By embedding computation intelligence holistically into the technical education, we do not merely prepare engineers for today's industry. We cultivate the innovators, the problem solvers, and the ethical technologists who will build the world to our children with the inherit. In the age of computational intelligence and Industry 5.0, the most successful graduates will not be those who memorize the most information, but those who can continuously learn, adapt, reflect, and innovate. So thank you for listening patiently. Thank you, so nice of you. That's all from my side.
Thank you very much, Professor Manish Dixit, for sharing your invaluable perspectives and insights. His timely presentation on curriculum enrichment for technical education growth highlights a fundamental truth that our educational frameworks must evolve just as rapidly as the technologies we create. Building dynamic and rich curricula is a key to empowering the next generation of innovators and driving sustained global progress. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give our esteemed speaker another well-deserved round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, we now proceed to one of the highlights of today's conference, the panel discussion featuring our distinguished keynote and plenary speakers. To facilitate today's exchange of ideas and insights, may I invite our moderators, Dr. Menchita F. Dumlao, Program Chair for Information Technology, and Assistant Professor Fads M. Lulu of the School of Arts and Sciences, both from the Philippine Women's University. We would also like to invite our esteemed panelists, Professor Shekmar Verma, Professor Joselito Edward Go, Professor Manish Dixit, Professor Daniel D. Dasig Jr., and Professor Jitam Singh Tomar. May we request our moderators and panelists to please proceed to the stage. Again, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our moderators and panelists with a warm round of applause.
Hello, hello.
Hello. discussion for the exchange of knowledge that encompasses a broad range of disciplines among various fields in AI, machine learning, and information technology. I am Dr. Menchita F. Dumlao from the Faculty of Information Technology, Philippine Women's University.
And joining Dr. Dumlao, I am Fahad M. Lulu from the School of Arts and Sciences in the same university, Philippine Women's University. It is expected for our researchers to bring new prospects for collaborations across disciplines.
Hello, check mic test.
Yeah. Sorry for that commercial break. So it is expected for the researchers to bring new prospects for collaborations across discipline, particularly in the usage and application of artificial intelligence, and gain ideas in facilitating novel breakthroughs. So we are thrilled, and I'm also honored and excited to be your moderators in this interesting and exciting discussion, especially that focuses on artificial intelligence that's actually presented by our presenters.
And over the next 20 minutes, we will be tackling different issues and to unpack the core issues of different fields, including machine learning, computational intelligence, neural network, and all other issues which are focused in this conference. We'll spend the first half of our time diving into guided discussions with our set of plenary speakers and experts. And for the second half, Sir Lilu.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Dumlao. And for the second half, we want to hear from you. So we'll be taking questions live from the floor mics and as well to the PWU YouTube channel. So if you're watching online via YouTube channel in PWU, you can actually type your questions so that we could actually ask it from our presenters joining us in our discussion. So please have your questions ready as the conversations unfolds.
Okay. So before we dive into the discussion, let us meet the experts joining us today. First, sitting here, okay, so first, I would like to introduce Professor Dr. Jita Singh Tomar, sir, and who is the chair of IEEE MP Section, patron 18th IEEE CICN, and he discussed the conference overview. Welcome, Professor Tomar.
So also joining us in our academic discussion is Dr. Aline Joy Baltasar.
Okay, so let me proceed to our next plenary panel member here, Professor Shekhar Virma, sir. He is our professor of the Department of Information Technology in Indian Institute of Information Technology. And as I've understood, he discussed about the very interesting diffusion models. Sir, thank you for that.
And also joining us is Professor Dr. Celito Edward Go. He's a professor and a research coordinator of the School of Management and Information Technology of De La Salle College of St. Benilde, which talk about the data-centric tiny ML matters.
And of course, we have Professor Dr. Manish Dikshit. Sir? Okay. He is the head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Madhav Institute of Technology and Science, Gwalior. And he discussed curriculum enrichment for technical science education. Welcome, Professor Dikshit. And I think Dr. Lakatan is not around. And of course, our dear, our very own, Dr. Danielle Dasig, the Research Director and Quality Assurance Coordinator of Philippine Women's University. So I think all of our panel here are ready. So to our audience, please prepare your questions. So let's jump in. Let's jump right in, no? Because we only have 20 minutes to go over here. I want to start on a level setting question for the whole group. Okay, anyone can take this question. In the past 12 months, as we have seen in the news now, all the hottest news on AI, we've seen massive shifts in artificial intelligence. So let's start with any one of you or Professor Tomar. Don't say he is my favorite, okay? Professor, what is the most overhyped trend in this AI space right now? And what is the trend that we actually should be paying attention to?
See, in AI, generally what we see, whenever any new idea comes up, we run behind it. That is what taken AI on so high. But we need to have some restrictions. Last 12 months, if you see, application of AI has gone at every area, whatever area we see, everywhere we want to put AI, whether it's applicable or not. Especially if we see in research areas, AI is put at the place where even it is not applicable. So that restrictions we have to check. If generally when we use that AI, is it feasible? You find that 30% of time it is not feasible. But we still put it in there just because we have heard about AI. So we need to go in that direction. We need to educate the applicants how to use it in better way. So that's what we need to consider.
Anyone? Yes, sir.
So I'll add to what Professor Tomar has said, that we have taken AI as a fashion, and we are applying AI to areas we should not be applying, and we don't need AI to add 1 plus 2 is equal to 3, but we are doing that. That's the problem that we are facing, because the industry wants to create money, and they are just taking every problem is being solved with AI. Number one. Number two, the most hype that we have is that of coding. Now, we are saying that most of the coders would be replaced by AI, which is not really true. And as the trends in the last week or so, you find that most of the bigger companies like Microsoft and others are again going back to coders, saying that what is being created by Claude or for any other AI is costlier than employing human beings. So that is a very big hype that we have. The third hype, which is the last one, is that AI is going to replace human beings, which is not really true. And I think this is just a hype of the industry to create a fear psychosis among us. Whereas AI is something that is useful, inclusive, but the hype is taking us somewhere else. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Another thing, just I'll add it, we do not go for negative impact of this AI on environment. If you see, if you train one model of AI for a month, because without that you can't have good model to be workable, then you generate carbon equal to 1.5 million kilometers of a car running continuously. That is what we are not looking for, and we are not educating. That is out of one research. So the amount of energy we are consuming, amount of carbon we are pushing to the nature is very high. And everyone starts using those models for no cost. And then further we are consuming energy and generating carbon. So that is a very negative impact of AI, which we need to educate the users and our young generation.
Okay, so if we'll see that what we are going to do, basically we are comparing the man and machine. So this is of course a height of technology that we are comparing the man and machine, a living and non-living thing. Because if we analyze, we find that in most of the time, the computer is good because it is having a, it can solve the complex numerical computation. It is having a, huge memory. If I will ask you, then on the same day, same date, last year, can you recall where were you? It's difficult for you. Until and unless some happening or mishappening are not there, it is difficult to, because we having the limited memory. We cannot retrieve the data immediately until and unless some specific event has been happened. But computer is having, record of each and every second. Who logs in, what time he logs in, everything has been recorded because it is having a huge memory. Repetitive operations, the another thing in which, machine is good. If I'll say you, I'll give a page of your syllabi and you have to copy this page 100 times. Maybe first time you are writing very nicely and the last page you cannot understand what you have written. So in repetitive operations also computer is good. So everything, the computer is good everywhere. The only thing is decision making. And AI is going in the direction that whatever decision we are taking, system should also be able to take. So basically we are the natural intelligent people, as we understand. And the mimic of human brain so that the machine can also take the intelligent decisions is basically AI. So I think the use of technology in that direction as an assistive system, AI is very good. But in that way, you should not forget that the human intelligence or the actual intelligence is given by the God to you, not to the machine. You are giving that to the system, but God has given the natural intelligence to you. So AI as an assistive system is good.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your ideas regarding the questions that was asked. So I'm actually, while I was listening as part of the audience, I'm actually fascinated, especially when you're actually presenting the conceptualized models that you were actually presenting. Because as someone whose not expertise and research interest is not related to computational intelligence and AI, it actually fascinates me first that AI could actually be used in terms of usage and application in daily lives, which is actually useful not just at home, at work, but in a multi-purpose activity depending on the context. So let me go ahead with my other questions, if you would allow me, and the other panel could also add in the conversation. My question is, how do you actually see the future at work or maybe in an academic setting with the current proliferation of AI applications? Because we've listened to you. Your application of AI were more pragmatic and useful. But how about the usage of AI, which actually can be used in a different purpose? So what's your opinion about it? Yeah, let's go ahead with Dr. Dasig.
Good morning all, myself Professor M.P.S. Chawla. Actually, to start with the very basic definition of AI, I will not be talking theoretically what has been written in the Google and books. In today's era, actually AI means your intelligence is artificial, but excitement is real. So everybody is so much fascinated that wherever AI is necessary, one should go for it, but replacement of the core branches and the core areas cannot be thought of. You just imagine that I try to prepare a tea. Then what I will do, first I will put the vessel with the material of the tea on the gas, and then we'll put the lighter on. Now I have to take care, I have given the flame to the burner, but at what time I should make it same high or I should stop. Otherwise what will happen, one day there will be an overflow, then the volume in the vessel will become zero. So that means in a way we have to go for a balanced core cannot be sacrificed. And Professor Tomar has also pointed out about the carbon and energy requirement, and the energy burden because of AI is tremendously increasing. And after say another 2 years, if we do not take care of the balance between the usage of AI as well as the energy or the power resources which we are getting. So when power resources will become zero, it will be just like that कि you are trying to boil the tea like anything, and one day you will find the vessel is empty. So I think the core branches should not be sacrificed. And one more thing, the Manish Dixit sir has pointed out about the programming. When we are going via chat GPT, in a way, what we are doing, we are not trying to see what is the header files behind, which is running. Suppose you go for the call functions in any of the platforms, you are very happy, plot x comma y. Then in that case, what happens, you get the result very fast. But if you try to see the back-end programming, some 50 lines program is there. So that means human intelligence should have an interruption as well as interrogation to the machine intelligence and computational intelligence. Thank you.
Well, the question is, how do I see the future of AI in my field? Well, if we go back in the 1950s, 1956 was the first time it was coined, artificial intelligence. And you'll see that the definition of AI is actually changing over time. So for me, I work in an academe, and you see the changes AI made in the students as well as in the academic community. And more and more students are actually becoming dependent in the use of AI. And probably they have heard the word AI for like 2 to 3 years, but in reality, we've been working on traditional AI or classical AI for quite some time. So many are saying that teachers will be replaced with artificial intelligence, and I highly doubt that. For me, if I'm going to stunt, because as of now, AI doesn't have ethics. AI doesn't really perform holistically as teachers do. And being an educator is not really showing intelligence to someone, giving intellect to someone. It's more of a holistic approach. We try to build better world wherein I'm excited and quite terrified at the same time. If you ask me like 5 years ago, where will the direction of AI be? I'm saying I'm not terrified at all. But as time goes by, it's becoming more and more evident that there are plenty of experts that doesn't really know the extent and complexity of what we're trying to build. And we are hoping that there should be some bigger individuals or authority that can govern how AI will actually progress in the future. There are, if you watch, read news, true news, not fake news. The real challenge is, how do we really train future AI? And we are training this AI with natural human intelligence. And there are certain companies that train their future AI model using intelligent individuals, and they are literally getting their job for them. And I would say it's not supposed to take the job of the person, of the people, but it should augment. It's not the job, it's the task that should be replaced with AI. But the job should remain. It should be, we could be changing job, but we should not be replaced by AI. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and to complement with my colleagues, at least in the academic community, AI deployment can be tolerated, but however, we should have policies on responsible use of AI. If there's AI deployment, there must have been AI that is explainable, and there should be safeguard to the users. AI should be interpretable. And of course, AI systems must include human in the loop. And that makes AI ethical in academic perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dasig. So this has been an incredibly insightful discussion among our panels. But we shouldn't forget, and we have to make sure that we leave plenty for our audience here. So we would like to know who among on the floor would like to have questions to our respected panel here. Dr. Padua. Our Dean of School of Arts and Sciences, and also the Dean of the School of Education. Yeah, she said that she's gonna have a question.
Good afternoon. Okay. My question is for the one who shared about education in AI, or maybe even the others may also, because it's something. It's not only education. No, I just okay because really for me, my battle cry would always be we humanize the world, humanize, humanize, and humanize. Okay, there's always a question between humanity, humanizing, and AI. So especially now that we are into revolutionizing the era of education, is that my take is that how would this impact human interaction? I think not only in education, because as education and all other arenas, all other fields would always involve social and emotional interaction. My question is, in a way, would this be minimizing or promoting, or the excessive use may reduce meaningful interaction? And if yes or no, what can be possible solutions in order to promote or in order to minimize those things so that the real premium will still be humanity? Because after all, AI is done by humans like us. So that we will not be ruled over all of this mechanical or IoT or these things. So in the process, it's still humanity that would win over.
I'll give the answer in 2-3 lines. As Madam has pointed about the humanity, job crunch is a big issue nowadays. So in a way, education, all these things are dependent. If within 1 or 2 more years, if the AI is replacing the human beings in the form of job replacement also, that means job removal. I think this will give a very dangerous impact on the education, why the institutes are giving degrees to the students. So students may rethink whether we should go for studies or do something else. So I think there should be a balance, or even a national policy adopted by each of the countries, that to what extent the AI should be involved, as well as the job security should be preserved.
Ma'am, you're right when you say that all education should be human-centric. So what has happened is that all mundane, everyday work is going to be replaced by AI. So coding, which is a labor-oriented, mundane job, might get replaced to some extent. So if you look at the job market, at least in India, there are jobs at the lower rung are going away, but jobs that involve critical thinking, design thinking, innovation, higher order thinking, socializing, all of them are coming to the center stage. So AI is freeing human beings from all mundane tasks, banal tasks. It is putting humans at the center where thinking needs to be done by human beings. So in education also, all mundane writing should be replaced by critical thinking. The student should be able to think critically, that have capacity to interact with people. I think education will then make, with the help of AI, make the society better and richer. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Dean, Dean of School of Education and School of Art Sciences, Dean Shirley Padua, for asking questions. Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for that wonderful question. And also to our presenter for sharing your ideas regarding the question. So, as much as we wanted to cater more questions, can we? You can, yeah, one question.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So I have a question for Dr. Manish. So this is about, I like the idea of your presentation earlier about reforming the curriculum, the education, especially in engineering programs. So my question is the industry experience requirements for our educators, professors, because I experienced it firsthand that I have professor that really don't have experience in the industry, and when it comes to their teaching method, it's really outdated. I mean, we are on 2017 year, but the presentation being used are in 2000. So it's really beyond, way beyond the, the topic already. And in terms of aligning to align
Curriculum with the industry.
the education, I mean, to align the industry in school, to align in the industry, how will we, in terms of the process of reforming, because professors are also, they have to be they have to be involved in the process to reform the education or the program. So I just like to get the idea of how can they be
Okay.
part of the
See,
SO.
what I have discussed in my lecture also, the different pedagogical study and the need of the industry interaction. Because ultimately, what is the goal? The employability. That is why the students are, taking the admissions in the institution because of the employability. And the employability will increase when the industry interaction will be increased. So what my point is that everywhere you should incorporate something which is dynamically changing in the technology. Because industry is directly related with the dynamic change. Because technology is, moving very high pace, and the industry is aware that. Industry required the industry, the people who are really, emerging with the technologies, who are coming out, studying all the technologies in which they require, they demand. So the partial content delivery in the syllabi can be done by the industry man. If the full syllabus cannot be, professors are there to teach the syllabus, but the partial delivery of the contents can be incorporated in the syllabus, which should be taught by the industry people. That is how the industry interaction can be increased, and that will be a good impact on the student also. So my point is that industry interaction must always be enriched and enhanced, so that the ready to employable people can be generated.
Industry experience should be requirements for the educators. Is that right?
Pardon?
Industry experience is a requirement to be a professor or to become an educator?
So industry experience is it should be welcome. The interaction can be increased because the professor can go to the industry for the training, industry trainings are there, and the industry people can directly guide to the student also. So it is, ecosystem is to be created to enhance the interaction. That is the ultimate objective.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, as much as we wanted to cater your questions, you could actually ask our presenter later and ask personal questions about the expertise and the presentation they have presented today. So don't worry, they will be here later.
All right, so we would like to express a massive thank you for all of our respected panel here. Let's give them a big hand of applause for sharing their groundbreaking research and insights today. And of course, I would like to thank my co-host, Mr. Lulu Fahads, for co-piloting this panel discussion.
Yeah, my pleasure was mine. And thank you also to the presenter. As someone who's not doing research related to AI, I actually gained a lot of knowledge. And also thank you to Dr. Dasig for the invitation. And I know our audience is also thankful to our gentlemen who have shared their expertise and knowledge in this presentation. Maraming salamat in Filipino.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So for our audience, as a reminder, the next event are breakout sessions. Please feel at home to enjoy the refreshment. I think you're done with your lunch. And thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you so much, dear panel. And nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much, our esteemed moderators and brilliant panelists, for that incredibly engaging and thought-provoking panel discussion. May we ask our speakers to remain on stage. The synergy of perspectives shared on stage illuminated the diverse dimensions of our field, proving that it is through this collaborative, multidisciplinary dialogues that real innovation thrives. We deeply appreciate your time, your expertise, and your commitment to advancing this critical discourse today. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let us express our gratitude to our panel members with a resounding round of applause. As a token of our appreciation and recognition, we will now proceed with the awarding ceremony. May we invite our conference officials to present the certificates and tokens of appreciation to our distinguished keynote speakers, plenary speakers, moderators, and conference contributors. Once again, we would like to call on stage our distinguished plenary keynote speakers, moderators, conference distributors, and especially our conference officials to present the certificates and tokens of appreciation. These plaques of recognition is hereby awarded to Professor Manish Dixit in grateful recognition and sincere appreciation as a plenary speaker in the 18th IEEE International Conference on Computational Intelligence and Communication Networks. The same plaque of recognition is given to Professor Dr. Joselito Edward E. Go. The same plaque of recognition is given to Professor Dr. Shekhar Verma. The same plaque of recognition is given to Professor Dr. Menedra Pal Singh. The same plaque of recognition is given to Professor Dr. Vijayi Laxmi Biradar. The same plaque of recognition is also given to Dr. Luisito L. Lacatan. The same plaque is given to Dr. Edmondino J. Camacho. And last but not the least, the plaque of recognition is also given to Probot Corporation. Once again, let's all give them a big round of applause. Thank you very much for your sincere and thank you very much for your commitment to scholarly excellence and innovation that has greatly contributed to the success of this international gathering. Once again, congratulations to all our speakers. Thank you very much for your invaluable contributions for the success of the 18th IEEE International Conference on Computational Intelligence. As we come to the conclusion of today's inaugural ceremonies, may I invite the program chair of the Psychology Department under the School of Arts and Sciences of the Philippine Women's University to deliver the closing remarks. Let us all welcome Dr. Melissa Necitas A. Alcazaren.
Good morning. Are you still there? Good morning to our distinguished guests, plenary speakers, fellow researchers, educators, and practitioners. As we close the 18th IEEE International Conference on Computational Intelligence and Communication Networks, CICN 2026, I am filled with gratitude and inspiration. Over the course of this conference, we have witnessed a brilliant convergence of minds from around the world of driving forward the frontiers of computational intelligence, communication networks, innovation, and research implementations. We had very amusing, fantastic topics on diffusion, noise. Then we have that audio for people with let's say hard of hearing or hearing impairment. Then we had that. We are reminded of that educational curriculum having from just the traditional knowledge orientation to having skill orientation, then aligning also towards the industry. Okay. So we owe a debt of gratitude to our phenomenal plenary speakers sharing their expertise. But an event of this magnitude does not happen by chance. It requires visionary leadership and tireless execution. I would like to extend a special heartfelt acknowledgement to our research director, Dr. Daniel Dasig, and of course, the research department as a whole. Dr. Dasig, your unwavering dedication, leadership, and effort have been the driving force behind the success of this conference. Thank you for guiding us toward research excellence. Thank you for fostering an environment where international collaboration can truly thrive. To all our participants, we leave this venue not to consider that this as the end, but rather the beginning of new partnerships. Let us continue to innovate, collaborate, and inspire research outcomes that lead to meaningful implementation in the real world. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alcazarian, for that inspiring closing message. Distinguished guests, speakers, researchers, faculty members, students, and industry partners, thank you for joining us in the morning session of the 18th IEEE International Conference on Computational Intelligence and Communication Networks. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to all our participants, speakers, sponsors, partners, and volunteers who had made this inaugural program possible. May this morning's gathering inspire new collaborations, innovative research, and meaningful solutions that contribute to the advancement of science, technology, and society. But the dialogue does not stop here. We want to keep the momentum alive and keep the conversation going as we transition to our parallel sessions this afternoon, where the real deep dives into these groundbreaking papers will take place. Following the conclusion of the program, all presenters and participants are kindly requested to proceed to your respective parallel session venues. Once again, following the conclusion of the program, all presenters and participants are kindly requested to proceed to your respective parallel session venues. Our ushers and usherettes are stationed outside to guide you to your designated rooms based on your assigned tracks. Once again, thank you for being a part of IEEE CICN 2026, and this concludes our morning inaugural ceremonies. I'm Associate Professor Roland Emil C. Peñalosa from the School of Pharmacy here at the Philippine Women's University, wishing you a pleasant afternoon and a highly productive, successful conference experience. Mabuhay and good day, everyone.